Pool, Mcbain Auto Service, Crandall Precision, Mcbain Family Pharmacy, Holton's LP Gas, the Falmouth Co-op, the Wexford Misaki Career Technical Center, Amp Wireless and Pfluger Mechanical, High Point Cadillac GMC, Judy K. Gildy Photography, Mcbain Hardware, Northern Trucking Services, LC Materials, Burkholder Family Funeral Home, Baker College of Cadillac, Ebel's Hardware, Ebel's General Store and Dawn's Catering, Mr. Pibbs Restaurant, DJ McQuestion & Sons, Leroy Milling, Randy's Party Store, and Cadillac Urgent Care. And your official streaming sponsor at 107.9 Wcdy.com, McLean Transmissions. Now let's head to the stadium and join your hosts for tonight's broadcast, Jay Simon, Gary Vanna, and Brian Goodenow.
DJ McQuestion & Sons have been moving dirt and building roads.
But it is a Highland variety as the Mcbain Ramblers play host to the Pine River Bucks. Alongside my longtime broadcast partner, good friend and all-around Renaissance man, Gary Hawkeye Vanna. I am merely Jay Simon, and we are thrilled to also have with us Brian Goodenow, the longtime varsity basketball coach of the Pine River Bucks, stepping in to give us some insight into this Pine River team. Fellas, great atmosphere tonight. It's chilly. It's not wet. It's a little better conditions than when these two teams met in week 5. It was a little more damp. Nobody threw the ball. 12-7 was the final when Mcbain won that one. We should have a great one tonight.
Great atmosphere for a game like this. It feels like playoff season. It feels, it's cool and crisp, but you're right. It's nice that it's dry, and we'll see what these teams are really capable of.
Tell you what, this is just exciting. Playoff football. First time Pine River's been here after taking last year off. Mcbain the second time in a row in the playoffs. These two teams had a great first game. A game really that could have gone either way. Mcbain was able to survive with the win, but tonight, I don't know. I just think whatever team can settle down first and get into the flow of a playoff game is the team that will be victorious.
I like how you mentioned the last time that the Bucks were in the playoffs, Hawkeye. 6-3 that year, and they made the state semifinals in D6. Their record this year, 6-3.
Yeah, it's been it's felt like an up and down season. For some reason, we get 6 wins, but some tough spots in the schedule, including, of course, here at Mcbain, and then the Lake City Trojans rolled through their regular season, over everybody. So interesting to see, who's peaking at the right time, I guess.
Yeah, your 3 losses, the Bucks' 3 losses, Brian, 9-0, 9-0, and 7-2. Those 3 teams. Yeah. The Ramblers will be kicking off to start our contest tonight. This is the Pfluger Mechanical pregame show, licensed and insured for all your new installations, HVAC services, and light plumbing. Make sure you give Aaron a call, 282-3194. You're listening to WCDY, Mcbain, Cadillac, Lake City. The Bucks will be receiving this opening kickoff, but there's some discussion going on out there on the field. While they do that, I'll mention also Mcbain comes into this contest 7-2. They did beat the Bucks back in week 5, 12-7 here on this field. Conditions, as mentioned, a little sloppier, a little colder. And so we're hoping tonight for some good football. If you're a Rambler fan, the good news, word on the street, starting quarterback Gavin Seelan should be back under center tonight. And we will see how long that lasts. He played defense last week, but did not play quarterback. As George Brown III will kick off, and we got a flag right off the bat as one of the Ramblers crossing the line of scrimmage a little early.
You mentioned Seelan being back at quarterback, and of course he was the one who did the most damage against the Bucks that first time around. They had no answer for Seelan running from that quarterback position. I think he went well over 100 yards in that game and really tore up the Bucks.
All I'm good for is stats. You're absolutely right, Brian. 135 yards to be exact. Logan Vandenboss had 122 yards. Both of those young men missed the game last week, Hawkeye, but you mentioned to me that Seelan back under center, and I forget what you told me about Vandenboss. We expect him to play as well, correct?
Vandenboss will be starting tonight. The thing is that he took last week off just to protect that knee.
George Brown will try again. 5 yards back, and this will go out of bounds inside the 35, and so Pine River will take over with excellent field position for their first possession. We want to make sure that when we get opportunities to do so, we are going to be thanking a number of Mcbain and Pine River area sponsors that are allowing us to bring this broadcast to you. And we encourage you, if you get a chance to stop in and say hi to any of them, thank them for their support of tonight's broadcast. It's all about these kids and giving an opportunity for folks to be able to listen. We want to make sure that you thank them for that. Let them know you heard them here on CDY.
5 yards from the place where the ball goes out of bounds.
I thought it was automatically on the 40. Yeah, for some reason
I thought it was an option of where it went out of bounds or the 35.
Now, is there a different rule? Because
is that what it is?
The first one was an offsides penalty. When you moved it back 5 yards, you might have a different
I don't know.
application. I've never seen that. So
Pine River comes out with their spread look. 2 receivers split to the left. Wildcat right off the bat as they give it to Elijah Lewis on the snap. Lewis battling, shakes free, and now Lewis is free through the 40, beats the man. 20, 10, no one is going to catch him. Touchdown, Pine River.
that's one thing you got to be worried about. Elijah Lewis's speed. Once he gets open space, nobody in Northern Michigan will catch that kid.
The Ramblers looked like they had Lewis corralled on the left side of the line, Brian. It for all the world, looked like it could have been a loss of yards, and suddenly he just came out of a group, and from that point on, nobody had a shot at him.
Yeah, and Elijah Lewis is deceptively strong. Everybody knows how fast he is, but he is a very strong man. He spends a lot of time in the weight room, and it paid off there being able to shed a couple of those tackles.
What a burst. And right off the bat, 62 yards to the house for Elijah Lewis.
I hate to correct Brian the first game, but tell you what, he wasn't a couple tackles. He shed off 10 Ramblers.
Extra point is good. And the Pine River Bucks, 15 seconds into this Division 7 pre-district playoff game, have a 7-0 lead on the road. We'll keep it right here because we didn't get a chance to talk too much about our pregame stuff. But, boy, Elijah Lewis, Brian, he had 60 yards rushing in that first game that was really turnover marred. I think the Pine River at least turned the ball over twice on fumbles in that game, as we mentioned, the wet conditions, the tough conditions. But, boy, you take a team that lost a close game, felt like they were in it the whole time, and then bring them back to that same location, they're going to be fired up, and we saw it on that first play.
Yeah, indeed, and Elijah was held in check for the most part that night. He did break a couple of runs, but like most teams from the third game on, the Ramblers really targeted him as the guy that they were not going to let beat them, and they were able to shut him down in that game. So that's a good sign from the Pine River side, I think, for him to be able to break free and get a little confidence there.
Aguilera will kick off for Pine River. This is a left-footed boot that is taken inside the 20 by Justin Camphouse, and Camphouse will be driven out of bounds just over the 30-yard line. And that's where Mcbain will try to answer the opening possession of the Bucks. 62 yards to the house for Elijah Lewis, and a 7-0 lead for the visitors. Ball will be marked at the 32-yard line. With 11:41 to go here in the opening quarter.
Well, George Brown III, string quarterback, starting.
And that is mildly surprising. As the Ramblers going right to left across your radio dial. Send Auden Ealing in motion. He's got the handoff, and Auden will bring up just shy of the 35-yard line. Gain of a couple. We'll give him the 34. It'll be 2nd and 8.
I think Maloney's going to see how this offense runs under George Brown, and if it does just fine, he's not going to push Sealand, but if he needs to, I think Sealand's going to be ready to be dialed up in a moment's notice.
Single receiver set to the left for the Ramblers. 3 split to the right. Shotgun for Brown. He immediately will run to the right, following some blockers, has a lot of room, has a first down and more as he stumbles across the 45-yard line down to the 47, and it is a first down for Mcbain. Saw that a lot last week early on when George Brown came in for Daniel Rodenbaugh.
Tell you what, that was a big game by Mcbain, but did you see Pine River knew what was happening? The whole defensive line shifted off of our tackle and shifted in that direction. Luckily, there was a seam in there, but Pine River's got us well scouted, and they're really knowing what we're going to be doing.
Man in motion is Rodenbaugh, Logan Rodenbaugh, trying the left side, and he will be stopped just shy of midfield. They'll mark him down at about the 49-yard line, give him a couple. It'll be 2nd and 8 for the Ramblers. 10:39 to go here in the opening quarter. It's 7-0 Pine River after a 62-yard Elijah Lewis touchdown run on the opening play from scrimmage.
And Brock Nelson on that tackle for the Bucks, and he's one of the players who missed that regular season matchup. He was out with a concussion, and he's a key player on both sides of the ball for the Bucks.
Two receivers split either way for the Ramblers. Brown wants to throw, throwing out the right side and well over the head of Garrett Verberkmos. It'll be 3rd and 8 now for the Ramblers.
That's pretty impressive if you could throw it over the head of Verberkmos.
It is saying something. Ramblers looking to their wrists for the call as Coach Maloney calls it in from the sideline. Ramblers in their home gold pants, green jerseys, and gold helmets going right to left. Brown rolling to his right, wants to throw again. Now he'll fire underneath, and that is going to skip short of his intended target, Justin Camphouse. And it will be incomplete, and we're looking at 4th down and 8 now for Mcbain from just about midfield, probably closer to 4th and 6. So Bam Bam, Noah Hendrickson will come out. So we would assume Mcbain will be looking to punt. Deep for the Bucks is Tanner Schimmel. Good snap, and Hendrickson, a low ball that Schimmel will take out of the air just outside his 15-yard line, and then he is buried on an Ealing, getting down there in a hurry. Drops him inside the 20-yard line, and that's where Pine River will take over.
Great
So
job.
a 3 and out, sorry.
I was going to say, great job by on an Ealing, and then a flat punt. The guys got down the field pretty quickly to cover that.
Good opening defensive look from the Bucks as they get the 3 and out. Excuse me, the 1 first down, but forced to punt at midfield.
So defense looking to make a stop here after giving up the
Pine River in the road, white, all white, green numbers, white helmets.
the Wildcat quarterback.
And the Wildcat again, Lewis will immediately run it to the right side. Lewis again picking his way through the defense. This time gets wrapped up around the legs and is dropped after crossing the 20-yard line.
Brought down by number 34, Logan Rodenbach.
And he's such a dynamic player, athlete, that they're willing to take those. You know, you get a 2 or 3 yard gain a couple of times, so just keep going with that, and then, you know, with the hope that eventually he's going to break one of those long ones.
Lewis again. This time he'll try the left side. Penetration from the Ramblers, now reversing field. Sheds a couple tacklers, headed for the 30-yard line, diving forward. And he'll pick up the first down on what amounted, not a broken play, certainly, Brian, but definitely had to change direction that was set up to go student body left. He brought it back to the right, shed 2 tackles, and picks up a big first down.
And there were a couple of Ramblers who were in the right position and stayed home, but he was able to get a little juke and jive and then break free from a tackle to get the first down. But, you know, it was definitely a broken play. I think that was the right description of it.
That play was brought to you by Fruit of the Loom, since the Mcbain Ramblers had to pick up their underwear after trying to catch that.
9:10 to go here in the opening quarter. 7-0 Pine River. Bucks going left to right across your radio dial. Lewis now in the pistol. He's basically playing quarterback. He'll fake the handoff, pulls it out, try the left side. He's got room again, makes a man miss over the 35, 40, and then brought down right about at the first down marker. I don't know where they marked this.
Number 4,
From my angle, I think he might have it. And he does. The official indicating to move the chains.
Enough for a first down.
And we'll call it the 43-yard line. It's another first down for Pine River as we get inside 9 minutes to go here in the first. Somebody excited in the fans tonight. 2 receivers split to the right for the Bucks. Again, out of the pistol. This time he'll hand it off. And I cannot catch that number, Brian. Is that Brock Nelson?
Yep.
48, 49.
Brock Nelson, the junior fullback.
And that's what Brock brings to the backfield for Pine River. He's that more of a straight-ahead power runner. He's not overly large in stature, but he runs really hard between the tackles.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of Joe Rickling.
Second down.
Who was
He's not as big as Joe, but yeah, very similar style run.
6-yard gain makes it 2nd and 4 for the Bucks. Lewis again in the pistol. Man in motion. Lewis will keep it himself. He's going to bring it to the right side. Garrett Verberkmos has a chance, and he slings him backward. Lewis escapes. Lewis still on his feet, and now he's going to get buried under a host of green jerseys back inside the 40-yard line. Garrett Verberkmos didn't bring him down initially, Hawkeye, but he was definitely the one that slowed that progress and allowed his friends to come up and make the corral. But boy, that's another play where if you're a Rambler fan, you're holding your breath that Lewis is going to escape from that and be gone.
Yeah, you know what, Verberkmos, when he threw him back, Lewis tried to regain his feet, and then actually he lost the forward progress where Verberkmos met him at because he tried to move it forward, and that actually lost an extra 3 yards because of the throwback and the attempts to recover.
And that is the risk with some of those, incredibly athletic, fast guys like that. Sometimes they don't know when to just cut their losses and, and call at the end of the play. They try to get more and end up losing more.
For the record, I have no idea what that's like. Here's their quarterback looking to throw to the left side, and almost a back shoulder catch made. That was Luke Hill who came in to play quarterback. Hill is the quarterback for Pine River. Lewis is actually a slot bagger, a slot receiver, but he's been lining up at quarterback up to that point. Looking to the sideline, was that Taylor Helmbolt, or was that Brian Fauble? Brian Fauble on the sideline.
And of note, I think Elijah Lewis is still getting a little attention over the sideline. Of course, it's fourth down now, but Lewis did have his helmet off. We're getting a little attention on the sideline.
So 4th and long now for Pine River. And back to punt. And a nice punt. It's going to bounce inside the 30, where it will be downed at about the 28-yard line, and that's where Mcbain will take over. So Mcbain's defense answers the call on that possession. They still trail 7-0. 6:43 to go here in the first quarter.
And the George Brown, the third string quarterback experiment is over.
It should be pointed out that technically tonight, George is the second string quarterback, but that's not as funny.
And that technically he was the first string quarterback.
He started, that's right. Yeah. But he is definitely not the first. So Gavin Seelan back at quarterback. Justin Camphouse in motion. Seelan now rolling to his right, wants to throw. Looking for Verberkmos. And incomplete. Verberkmos defended well there by Tanner Schimmel. Schimmel giving up about 6 inches of height, but did a nice job of staying with Verberkmos. And honestly, Hawkeye, that's a situation. Gavin Seelan didn't give him enough air. He had Schimmel by a step or two, but that ball slightly underthrown.
No, that looked a little bit like a wounded duck on the way out there, so I agree with that. But tell you what, you got to like your chances anytime Verberkmos is one-on-one with anybody.
So it'll bring up 2nd and 10 now. Handoff is to Logan Vandenboss, and Vandenboss will take it up to about the 35-yard line, gain of about 7. It'll bring up 3rd and 3 now for the Ramblers.
Number 5, Brock Nelson, 7-0 Pine River. 3rd down and 5 for the Bucks.
6 and 15 to go here in the first. 7-0 Pine River with the lead. Division 7 pre-district playoff football. Winner of this advances to play the winner of Lake City and North Muskegon. Lake City playing tonight at home. There's Verberkmos over on the right sideline, tries to make a move, is brought down right away, but it will be a first down as Gavin Seelan finds and hooks up with his 6'6" receiver.
Tell you about when you air out that long bomb and then you come back 2 plays later with the button hook, that defensive back is trying to make sure he doesn't get beat over top. That could be a good way to set up some easy pitch and catch.
To Verberkmos.
4 receivers set again for the Ramblers. They send a man in motion. That's Logan Rodenball, keeper by Seelan. Seelan, little stop and go somehow. Finds his way to midfield.
Number 3, Gavin Seelan.
Gain of about 6. It'll bring up 2nd and 4 now for the Ramblers.
Number 50, Brian McCurry. 2nd down and 5 for the Ramblers. Himself to get him ready for the playoffs. But here, he's giving it his all.
Seelan looking to the sideline for the play. All the Ramblers with those wrist thingamajiggies. I've always wanted one, just I don't know what I'd put on it, but Seelan with Vandenboss behind him. Fakes to Vandenboss. Not a very effective fake as His attempt to move forward is hindered by several young men in white jerseys. Gets across midfield to the 49 of Pine River, but it'll bring up third and short.
Tell you what, I'll get you one of those wrist thingies for Christmas this year, and I'll put all your favorite TV channels right on there, so you can flip up and go, hey, I want to watch.
Shotgun formation. Seelan wants to throw, firing underneath again, and he's got Rodenbaugh across the 45-yard line and a first down for McBain. So Gavin Seelan twice now on third down with strikes on short routes. And McBain with another first down in Pine River territory at the 43.
So unbalanced offensive line right now as Vanna goes on the far side. A single offensive lineman on this side.
Ramblers going right to left. Seelan will roll to his left, looking to run all the way. Tucks it into the left foot and a great tackle. I don't know if he got so much tripped or tackled there, but he goes down thanks to the efforts of Sasha Huffman.
I'm not sure if that was entirely Sasha, maybe a little combination of tripping over the white line there, but Sasha maybe got a little bit of it.
Sasha's wearing white. Yeah, he's wearing white. We'll give him credit for it.
So second game.
Gain of a couple. It'll be the 41-yard line now for McBain, 2nd and 8. Seelan in the shotgun again, 3 split to the right. Seelan wants to throw, pump fake. Now he'll pull it down and run forward. He's got room. Seelan across the 40, 35, and now down to the 30-yard line, and he's got another first down. I hear a flag. There is a flag. Flag on the far side. This may be a wide receiver hold. If that's the case, we're going to be looking at about 2nd and 10 based on where that flag was thrown. Pat Maloney doing the... Brian, you're probably familiar with this. You probably do this in basketball too, right? Where you just hold those hands out, palms up.
I try really hard not to do that. My first year of coaching, I had officials come over to me and say, if there's one thing you can do that officials never want to see, it's that right there. And I've tried to always be cognizant of that, but yeah, I'm guilty from time to time.
So after the 10-yard penalty, we'll bring up second.
I made a lot of faces when I coached. A lot of faces of confusion.
Well, that's the universal sign for why, isn't it? Yeah, that's all we want to know. Why?
Why or what?
Why'd you call that? Yeah.
Why or what? What are you calling? So the penalty will take it back to the 43-yard line of Pine River. And as I thought, 2nd and 10. 3:43 to go here in the first. Trips to the left for Seelan. They want a little bubble screen. Logan Rodenbaugh makes the catch. Rodenbaugh is going to lose the ball, and Pine River, no! They had it, now they do. They initially had it, squirted out, and then they did recover it, and so Pine River will take over. Boy, Hawkeye, I'll tell you what, Rodenbaugh was trying to shed that tackle. The tackler had his arm, and he looked like he was basically dragging the defender with that arm. The unfortunate part was that left the ball exposed, and Pine River took advantage.
Yeah, when you're playing a game this tight, turnovers will be the difference maker.
I think they were really the difference in the regular season matchup too. Both teams turned it over a couple of times, and I think Pine River turned it over at least one more, and that was a deciding factor in the game.
So the fumble gives the Bucks the ball at their own 36-yard line. Luke Hill in the pistol formation. Lewis in motion. They will pitch it to Lewis around the left side. Lewis with some room, sheds a couple different tacklers, and then gets buried, but not before crossing the 45-yard line, and is going to be close. He is going to have a first down. Headlinesman indicating to move those chains. They'll mark it at about the 47-yard line. 11-yard pickup for Lewis.
That's an impressive combination of that, strength and speed from Elijah Lewis again on that carry. He had some guys meet him early on, and he was able to break a couple of tackles.
Hill in the pistol again. Lewis again will come in motion from the slot. They'll hand it. Nope. He's going to keep it himself. Hill. An option play, fake to Nelson. He had Lewis behind him. Hill tried to turn it upfield, and there was nowhere to turn it upfield to.
Luke Hill's one of the toughest kids you're going to find pound for pound, and it's a good thing because he has taken some big hits like that all season long, but he always has been able to bounce back up and get right into the play.
I will freely admit that the Rambler defender on that play, Owen Bonico, is not somebody I would ever want to run into for any reason.
No, I see him in the hallways at CTC, and I step aside. Just in case he accidentally bumped into them.
2nd and 10 now from the 46. Man in motion again. And the Ramblers again with fantastic penetration. Hawkeye as they get into the backfield. Owen Bonico with the tackle. Noah Hendrickson also blowing it up by getting back early. And it's going to be a loss back to the 42, loss of 4, and it's going to set up 3rd and 15 now for the Bucks. This is a dumb question, Hawkeye, but when the offensive line is split that far, when you have that kind of gap, does that give more opportunity for defenders to break it into, to get into the backfield like that?
No, it doesn't. Actually, it spreads out the defensive line and gives them unnormal angles to take.
That's why it's a dumb question. Here's a man wide open, gunning at his hill. The Ramblers are saying no catch. The back judge says it is. What a throw and catch by Lane Rupert in Mcbain territory, and it's going to be a first down. Pine Rivers. Hill found him on just a gorgeous pass. Not really a slant, but he had so much room. Had he hit him in the numbers, I'm not sure anybody caught Rupert on that play.
Well-designed play after several runs. It's the first passing play of the night for the Bucks. Oh, no, so there was the other one.
Incompletion,
yeah. But Luke's got that arm. He can make that pass.
Minute and a half to go here in the opening quarter. Bucks with a 7-0 lead. Huge conversion there, and Hill trying to get the Ramblers to move offside. Now he'll hand it off to Lewis around the left, and the Ramblers again with great penetration will drop Lewis for about a yard loss
Lewis, the ball carrier,
at the 42-yard line.
Second down and 10 for the Bucks.
I don't know about you, but I feel a little bit of a relief when it's not in Lewis's hands. He just scares me. I don't know. I just didn't keep running the ball to him and direct snapping because he seemed to be really dominating out there when he had the ball in his hands.
Shades of, the young man's name's not going to come to me. I'll think of it here in a moment. Not where I was going, but 2 backs behind Hill. Hill wants to pass, looking deep and overthrown. I can't get a number from
Marcus
here.
Jurek,
Thank you.
Receiver.
Covered by Caden McGillis.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Pass intended for Marcus Jurek, incomplete. Being 3rd down and 10.
It'll be 3rd and a long 10 now for Pine River. I keep wanting to say Ozzy. It was Ozzy something or other, Ishpeming. There was a year when Lake City went up and played Ishpeming. And the Ozzy Corp, that's who it was. And the Hematites, essentially, if they ran 50 plays, 48 of them were direct snaps to Ozzy Corp, who just ran left or right. Picked up anywhere from 4 to 5 yards, and they won.
What do you think of the Bear pulling that one out for you?
Yeah, that was impressive. Lewis, handoff in the backfield, and he's going to get slung to the ground. Noah Hendrickson getting a hold of an arm and dragging him down. They're going to give him the 46-yard line, 47-yard line, but it's still going to be a 5-yard loss as the Ramblers get into the backfield and set up now a 4th and long for Pine River.
That was a frustration tackle. He said, I finally got a hand on you, and I'm going to make it up for the other 3 you made me miss.
That was some impressive hand strength, too. Just that one hand, and he tossed Elijah aside like a rag doll.
And that is going to be the final play of the opening quarter. 7-0. The Pine River Bucks lead it here in Mcbain. Division 7 playoff football coming your way. We'll be back right after this.
DJ McQuestion & Sons have been moving dirt and building roads since 1949. Their objective is to provide the highest quality in technology, equipment, and construction skills. The owners and employees of DJ McQuestion & Sons, Inc., many of them Pine River alumni, congratulate the Pine River Bucks varsity football team on their success this season and wish them continued success in tonight's game. DJ McQuestion & Sons, we do it in the dirt.
Your one-stop farm supply store is Falmouth Co-op in the heart of agriculture country. With locations at Falmouth and Mcbain, Falmouth Co-op has what you need to keep all your animals well-fed and healthy. Plus, bulk fuel and professional agronomy services like custom fertilizers and spraying and soil and grid sampling. Falmouth Co-op is your premier grain dealer and birdseed headquarters. And the Mcbain location has pizza, burgers, wings, and appetizers. Stop in today at either location in Falmouth and Mcbain. Falmouth Co-op is proud to support Mcbain's student athletes.
And welcome back to Mcbain High School. Jay Simon alongside Gary Hawkeye Vanna, Brian Goodnow. We're through a whole quarter, and Hawkeye hasn't given Goodnow a nickname. I'm a little stunned by that, I'm not going to lie.
You're stunned, and I'm disappointed.
7-0. Pine River with the lead over Mcbain. Division 7 pre-district playoff football action. He's probably thinking he's gonna let it out there at halftime or something.
When he lets it go, right?
It'll come at halftime probably.
Back to turn for the Ramblers, number 20.
Pine River facing a 4th and 16 from the Mcbain 46-yard line, lined up to punt. Low snap handled, and a nice low punt that George Brown will let bounce, and this will get checked up and stopped 17-yard line or so, and that's where Mcbain will take over. So after the opening 62-yard scamper from Elijah Lewis, it's been punt, punt, fumble, punt as the defenses have begun to make themselves known. Most of the action happening between the 30-yard lines or so.
Hey, I just want to let you know that nicknames aren't given, they're earned.
I'm trying to decide if I actually want to earn one or not. Maybe it's better off to not have one.
He's been trying to lay one on me for years. It doesn't work. Handoff is to Vandenbos. Vandenbos trying to cut around the left side and manages to get across the 20-yard line. Produces a little something out of not much.
Vandenbos, the ball carrier.
They're going to mark this at about the 22-yard line. Gave him about a 6-yard pickup. We'll give him the 23.
Right down by Marcus Jurd. Second down.
Ramblers going left to right here in the second quarter. Trips to the right for Gavin Seelan. Vandenbos is the tailback. Seelan now rolling to his right, wants to throw. Pump fake, and he's going to get grabbed and slung to the ground. The fumble, but the ball came out after he hit the ground, so that will stay with Mcbain, but they're going to mark this back near the original line of scrimmage, and it's going to bring up 3rd and a long 10 now for the Ramblers.
Pine River brought a blitz off of the far side edge. Confused the Mcbain tackle. He didn't know which one to take as the assignment of the blitzing man, and he ended up taking neither, and that caused a sack on that last play.
Seelan now wants to throw over to the left, has a man underneath. It's Justin Camphouse, and Camphouse will take it out past the 20-yard line to about the 23. Gains back the yards they lost on the previous play, but it's going to bring up 4th and about 4 now for Mcbain. And we will see the right leg of Noah Hendrickson.
That short passing game is obviously there. It looks like pretty often. Now on a 4th and long, it's not as effective, but man, you can get that a lot, it looks like.
Back for a turn for the Bucks. It's number 24, Tanner Schimmel.
Tanner Schimmel back to receive the punt for Pine River. High snap. Hendrickson handles it and hits another boomer that's going to be taken by Schimmel just inside his own 40. Ball's on the top, and it is cooked up. Auden Healing off the bounce will run to the house. Touchdown, Mcbain.
Everybody's looking for the flag.
Everybody is looking for the flag.
Right here, waving.
The head linesman is waving.
That should be a full ball. It was not. He didn't have possession. It was a ball.
It may be a case. Go ahead and say that into the mic, bro.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I believe on a muffed punt you cannot advance the kick, so it'll be Ramblers' ball right there where they picked it up.
Yep, you are absolutely right. That is exactly what's happened. So they're going to mark this at the 41-yard line of Pine River, but in any case, it does give Mcbain the ball, as Coach Maloney looking for an explanation. But I believe that's absolutely the right call.
The ball is down at the 40.
So a ball that touches, they're saying that the Pine River, they're saying that Schimmel did not have possession of the ball.
Right.
It'd be as if it had touched the back of one of the Pine River players,
right,
and it's a live ball, and Mcbain can collect it, but you can't advance that. Had he collected it and a fumble had come out on a run back, that would have been differently and could be advanced.
That was all set up by a great punt, by the way.
It was a
great hang time and great distance.
Absolutely. Hendrickson has been punting very well this season. So the Ramblers now with possession. Send a man in motion, and back to throw is Seelan. Seelan rolling out to his right, wants to throw underneath and too high. Had a man wide open in Rodenbaugh. But a little hot, a little high, and through the hands of Rodenbaugh, bring up 2nd and 10. 9:33 to go here in the second quarter. It's a 7-0 Pine River lead, but Mcbain trying to take advantage of a fumble on the punt. Have a 2nd and 10 at the 41-yard line of the Bucks. as I feverishly try to keep up on my drive chart. 4 receivers again. This time they'll send Camphouse in motion. Seelan will hand it off up the middle. Touch, scampering over the 35 and then brought down by the secondary out at the 30-yard line. Make it the 29. It'll be a first down for the Ramblers.
By number 26, Brian Fowler. First down and 10 for the Ramblers. So first and 10 from the 29-yard line. So
Ramblers going no huddle. 9.5 to go. Seelan is going to keep it himself. Seelan around the left edge is going to get buried after he got back to about the line of scrimmage. Coach Maloney was hustling over to the line judge, Hawkeye, pointing at something on the line of scrimmage. Obviously got no satisfaction. Do you have any idea what he was pointing at?
He was trying to point at the substitution, trying to catch in the 13th or 12th man on the field when they were doing that, and he was arguing that the guy was still on the side of the field when the ball was snapped.
So,
8:54 to go. Should be third down. Unless I marked something wrong. And now Coach Maloney's going to call a timeout. I might have something wrong on my drive chart. In any case, we got a timeout for Mcbain, and we need to take a break. We will. 8:40 to go here in the second. 7-0 Pine River. We'll be back right after this.
Dawn Fresh Catering is committed to serving fresh, homemade foods with an emphasis on using the great Abel's meats our customers love. Let Dawn Fresh Catering provide the food for your party or event. At Abel's General Store, you'll find a wide variety of grocery products, clothing, gifts, and of course, our signature meats. Family owned and operated since 1920, hometown service is our specialty. Dawn Fresh Catering in Abel's General Store in beautiful downtown Falmouth.
And welcome back to Mcbain High School. Jay Simon alongside Gary Hawkeye Vanna and Brian, nickname to be earned, Goodnow. 7-0, the Pine River Bucks lead the Mcbain Ramblers here in this Division 7 pre-district football contest. The Bucks 62-yard touchdown run by Elijah Lewis on the opening play of the game. And since then, the defenses have stepped up going both ways. Mcbain right now trying to take advantage of a Pine River miscue that gave them the ball at the 41-yard line of the Bucks, looking at a 2nd and 10 from the 29.
Unbalanced offensive line. They always like running to the short side of the line when they're in this formation. 3
receivers to the short side of the line. Seelan is going to roll that way. Has good protection. He's going to keep running. Uses the wide receiver block by Rodenbaugh and gets over the 20-yard line. They're going to mark him just the other side of the 20, and that's going to be very close to a first down.
Looks like it's 10.
Roger Barnett on that tackle for the Bucks, pursuing from that inside linebacker position.
So they're going to bring the chains out to measure.
Close enough to measure.
Yep, they'll bring the chains from the far side of the field to bring it back. 8:23 to go here in the second quarter.
So what's going on with Brian McCurry? Is that a broken arm?
He's got a broken bone in his thumb, or basically at the base of the thumb. So he's had that in a cast and wrapped for the last couple of weeks. So he's basically playing with one hand out there.
It is enough for a first down, so Mcbain will have 1st and 10 from the 20. I want to remind you, if you're leaving our listening area or you want to listen to this game from someplace anywhere around the world where you've got a decent internet connection, head over to 107.9 Wcdy.com, and you can listen to this game live streaming. I think we're using YouTube these days. Live streaming of this contest brought to you by McLean Transmissions. For anything transmission related and for quality used cars, head over to McLean Transmissions on LaChance Road between Cadillac and Lake City. Call 779-1394. Rodenbaugh in motion. Seelan out of the shotgun, rolling to his left. Wants to throw. Now he's going to just pitch it forward. And Rodenbaugh does make the catch. And they're going to mark this just the other side of the 15-yard line.
I'll tell you on that one, the magician was just about ready to be tackled. He knew that, so he jumped up just so he still had an extra second to release that ball, and he did, finding an open receiver and turning a negative play to a little bit of a gain.
Yeah, another great example of turning, getting something out of nothing. It looked like he was potentially going to be dropped at the line of scrimmage and found that open man. It's not a big gain, but it's better than a loss, certainly.
Ball marked just the other side of the 15-yard line. It's 2nd and a long 6. 8:06 to go here in the second quarter. Again, trips to the right for Seelan out of the shotgun. Sealand wants to throw over the middle and well out of the outstretched arms of Ethan Barton. Barton on the slant route. Couldn't corral that. It'll be 3rd and 6 now for McBain.
You can see his passing game has a little bit of rust. He's just throwing the ball a little bit high on his receivers. He's not actually being able to drive through with that knee. I don't know if it's the knee or if it's a rust, but he's just not complete in his throwing motion.
Pistol pro formation, and he's got a roll that seemed to kill Fremont last week. See if it can be effective here against Pine River.
2-back look now for Sealand in the pistol. 2 receivers to his right. Sealand will give it no to Vandenbos, and it's on the turf, and I think Pine River's going to get this back. And they do. Pine River on the bad exchange by the Ramblers will get it right back.
What can see who came up with it, but there were 2 or 3 players from each team in there diving and scrambling for that ball.
They're going to mark this at about the 12-yard line of Pine River. So the Buck defense gets a break, holds after the turnover of their own, and now Pine River in business.
And seeing some turnovers that we really didn't anticipate with the field conditions and the weather conditions. Didn't really expect that to be an issue tonight.
Nope, and they have not necessarily been ball holding type plays, as Elijah Lewis trying the left side, nothing much there. And Lewis will be dropped right about the line of scrimmage. Call it no gain. It'll be 2nd and 10. Yeah, we know with the first game back in week 5, it was wet. It was sloppy. Nobody tried to really throw the ball, and there was difficulty just holding on to it. But tonight, the fumbles have been a little bit different. Really, the first one by McBain, you could say, was a legitimately forced fumble, knocked out of the hands of the Rambler runner. He had the muff punt, but you can't really blame the kid because the ball hit him, and then a defender hit him. And then there, just a botched exchange on the fake. Lewis now in the pistol will fake. Lewis trying to run to the left side. And right now, Brian, it just seems to be that the young men in the green jerseys have eyes for no one but Elijah Lewis.
And I think they've made that adjustment. The Bucks maybe caught him off guard a little bit coming out in that Wildcat with Elijah at quarterback to start the game. But obviously, Coach Maloney and the Ramblers have made adjustments that need to be made, and they're not at all surprised to see him in that position and ready to make the play.
Tell you what, next time you see Elijah Lewis at quarterback, McBain will not have a single defender more than 8 yards off the ball, and that will only be one of them. The other ones are going to be within 4 yards of the ball. As it looks like he's in the Wildcat again. Look where the defense is all strung out and all tight.
Yep, you are absolutely right. There's actually nobody beyond 8 yards. Ethan Bart, excuse me, there's now a little bit of room, and straight back, George Brown into the backfield. They're actually saying they took the ball. Noah Hendrickson took it away, but they're going to say they whistled him dead back at the 8-yard line. Noah Hendrickson came out of that scrum with the ball, but forward progression obviously stopped at that point. That's a good call by the officials.
But man, were they in the backfield in a hurry. George Brown III was there before Elijah could make a decision on which way he wanted to go.
Hendrickson, George Brown. Josh Shaw.
So Josh Shaw will go back to punt. He's about 3 strides inside the back of his end zone. Good snap. And Shaw will get off a good punt that George Brown III is going to fall on top of just outside the 40-yard line. Boy, oh boy, that's dangerous. He was not close enough to field it out of the air, and he basically just let that thing hit the ground, hit him in the chest, and then fell on top of it. So after all that, gentlemen, McBain will get the ball back almost in the exact same spot they had it after recovering the fumble off the muff punt.
Amazing how often that happens.
So McBain's ball on Pine River's 40. See if McBain can cash in here.
5.5 minutes to go here in the first half. 4 receivers for Sealand out of the shotgun. Sealand, little screen to Rodenbaugh. Rodenbaugh uses a block up the right side. Rodenbaugh still on his feet and will finally be brought down. They're going to mark him out. Nope, they're going to mark him back at the 21-yard line as the trailing judge linesman keeping an eye on that sideline. But it will be a first down for McBain at the 21.
Tell you what, that's one thing McBain's wide receivers have done well this season is blocking downfield. Screen plays, Barton and Berkmos have really stepped up their blocking game.
Well, early on, too, Hawkeye, they were being called fairly frequently for holds, and it's nice to see that they haven't shied away from it. Despite that time Verberkmo's doing a great job of taking out his man. Camphouse in motion. Seelan will give it to Vandenbos up the middle. And Vandenbos, somebody grabbing onto that left leg for dear life, will slow him down enough for the other white jerseys to drop him. Does get across the 20-yard line. And they had that leg well enough that he's going to limp off the field.
That's big Trenton Holmes. He was dragging there, and that's saying something. Trenton's a big boy at about 6'5", and probably 250 pounds, and he was dragging him along.
6'5". Will we see him in the winter then?
Oh, absolutely. This will be his third year on the varsity basketball team.
The way that Vandenbos came off the field, that does not look good at all for the McBain Ramblers.
Ball at the 18-yard line, 2nd and 7 now for McBain. Man in motion is Rodenbaugh. Seelan wants to throw. Seelan rolling to his left. Now he'll step up into the gap. Makes a man miss to the left. Splits 2 defenders and drives his way forward to the 10-yard line. And he is going to be close. Should have a first down. Needed to get to the 11. And they will mark it at the 10. That's a tough run from Gavin Seelan, who sat out the offensive side of the ball last week. Does not look more the worse for wear.
And you see who's standing next to him? George Brown, the third string running back.
George Brown in that running back.
Seelan will give it to George Brown, and Brown, plowing forward, folds himself right over the top of, actually might be Trent Holmes.
Trent Holmes.
Yeah, I was going to say, when he stood up, he was 4 inches taller than everybody around him, so that was my guess. No huddle for the Ramblers. Seelan will pitch it out to Auden Ealing. Ealing hitting the backfield, trying to reverse field, still on his feet. And Seelan wrapped up. What a hit. Elijah Lewis flying through and dropping Ealing in the backfield. And I'll tell you what, it looked like, Brian, that Ealing was going to have some space and might be able to come back to the left in one of those situations where all the Rambler defenders or offensive players were in the right position to block. And Lewis found a gap, shot it like a cannon,
he did,
came through and dropped him.
Play got turned around by Sasha Huffman, and the Bucks tried to get a hand on him, and then Elijah using that speed to probably evade some of those blockers.
Timeout on the field, 3:18 to go here in the first half, 7-0 Pine River. McBain's got a 3rd and 22 coming up, 3rd and goal from the 22. We'll be back right after this.
When you're in the need for urgent medical care, it's nice to know there's someone close by who can help. Cadillac Urgent Care, formerly the Cadillac After Hours Clinic, is ready to serve your medical needs. They've just brought in a new staff and new providers who are ready to see you in a warm, comforting family atmosphere. Cadillac Urgent Care is located behind the hospital on Cobb Street in Cadillac, and they're open 7 days a week starting at 9 a.m. So when your primary care office is closed or you're just not able to get an appointment, Cadillac Urgent Care is there for you. If you're in need of a sports physical, DOT physical, in-house point of care testing, and much more, let Cadillac Urgent Care care for you. Stop by or visit them on the web at CadillacUrgentCare.com.
Welcome back to McBain High School. 3:18 to go here in the first half. Division 7 pre-district football playoff contest. Jay Simon alongside Gary Hawkeye Vanna, Brian Goodenow. Pine River with a 7-0 lead over McBain, as this is a Highland Conference rematch of the Week 5 matchup between these two teams, played right here on this field. The Ramblers won that one 12-7. This one, well, it's the difference between one more football game and getting ready for basketball season. Ramblers have a 3rd and goal from the 22-yard line. Gavin Seelan with trips to his right, single receiver to his left, wants to throw underneath for Camphouse. Did he bring it in?
I believe it's catch. Yep, they're signaling that it's good.
They're signaling it is a catch. So it'll be 4th and goal now from about the 12, gain of about 10 on that play. As we get to the 3-minute mark remaining in the first half. Ramblers have 1 timeout remaining. Pine River, I believe, all 3 here in the first half. Ramblers looking to the sideline for the play call. Going left to right, trips to the right to the near side. Yeah, looks like we're going to get a Pine River timeout.
I think there was a late substitution coming there, and Coach Martin thought better to take the timeout.
Heard that from the coaching staff upstairs. You could tell wanting to call that one. 2:42 to go here in the first half. We'll keep it here for the time being and remind you that the broadcast of today's game is a copyrighted presentation of the Michigan High School Athletic Association and 107.9 CDY. No reproduction, retransmission, or other distributions of the descriptions or accounts of this game may take place without the express written consent of the MHSAA and 107.9 CDY. Over on our sister station, 107.1 The Drive. Our last report, the Lake City Trojans had a 9-0 lead over North Muskegon. The winner of that game takes on the winner of this game for the district title. And of course, down in Reed City on our other sister station. What is that? Is that our stepsisters? I don't know how you, I don't know the familiar relationship at that point. B103, the Coyotes playing host to, and the school was in my head, Benzie Central. Thank you, Benzie Central. Thank you, Isaac. In a Division 5 pre-district contest.
So, Sealand next to Ewing in the shotgun. Camp House in motion.
Camp House in motion. 4th and goal now for McBain out of the timeout. Gavin Sealand rolling to his left. Throwing into the corner. Has a man open. Touchdown, Ramblers. Camp House in the corner. What a perfect throw from Gavin Sealand. And the Ramblers have made it 7-6.
That looked like one of those old-fashioned Canadian football leagues where you got your wide receiver with a head of steam running at full speed and this turned up field already going faster than everybody else around him.
And that's not legal in Canadian football anymore, is it? I don't think it is. Maybe it is. That is the coolest thing about football, is watching these guys sprint toward the line of scrimmage and then the ball gets snapped. That should be allowed everywhere.
It's legal in arena football.
Yeah, right? And the Ramblers' extra point attempt is good. That's only been happening over the last recent couple of weeks. And with 2:37 remaining here in the first half, we are knotted at 7 apiece.
I couldn't even tell you last time you tried one.
Last week.
Did George Brown kick that, Hawkeye? I looked down. I made the mistake of looking down. Was that Brown on the extra point?
Ask the Bear.
George Brown, the third string quarterback? George Brown, the third string kicker?
Yeah.
Well, we had a game. Now we really have a game, as we are knotted back at 7 now. 2:37 to go here in the first half. It has been a defensive struggle, miscues by both teams. But the Ramblers taking advantage of a short field. And now George Brown, the third string kicker, will kick off. No.
So Brown set to kick off.
Brown setting that ball sideways. That's going to go off one of the Pine River Bucks. And the Ramblers are going to have it. The kick from George Brown III, the onside kick, scooting across the ground, hit the knee of one of the Pine River Bucks just on the other side of midfield, bounced back across the 45-yard line of Mcbain, and it's recovered by the Ramblers.
That's for a very effective onside kick like that. I mean, it's coming in so hot that that front line guy really doesn't have an opportunity to just cover it up. It just bounced right off him.
You almost, I'll be honest with you at this point, and Hawkeye, I'll go to you with this. If you've scouted Mcbain, don't you just stay out of the way of anything that's coming at you hot if you can? And granted, that time maybe he didn't have an opportunity, but that's going out of bounds.
You can teach that, but instinct is still instinct.
Instinct is instinct, absolutely. Sealand wants to throw, has Logan Rodenbaugh over the middle. Rodenbaugh makes the man miss, puts his head down across midfield over the 40-yard line, down to the Pine River 38. And it's a first down, Mcbain, with 2:27 to go here in the first half. Ramblers looking to put some more points on the board here in the first half.
Looks like Mcbain is trying to get a short passing game with open space so they can get a lot of yaks or yards after catch and try and move the chains that way. And the good thing about that is it slows down the great rush that Pine River's had on Mcbain.
Sealand back to throw again out into the right side, and a nice tackle there.
3 yards.
Pine River defender Brian Fauble coming up and making a nice stick on Logan Rodenbaugh. Gain of about 3. It'll be 2nd and 7 for Mcbain.
And in reality, other than the long touchdown pass, it's all been these short passes, and they've been very effective for the Ramblers.
Passes affect Pine River
Sealand again. Wants to throw. Looking over the middle for Camphouse and well over his head. Garrett Verberkmos is bouncing around like a kid in a candy store on the right side. Thought he had a step on his defender. Sealand liked what he saw with Camphouse's matchup, but overthrew him. It'll be 3rd and 7 now for McBain.
If Verberkmos is within 3 yards as a defender, he has a step because of his height advantage.
That's fair. That is fair.
21 where McBain won. So now Sealand with the Ealing. That's a whole
3rd down now. Sealand out to the left side. Has a man on Ealing with a lot of room. Ealing, first down, makes a man miss. Over the 25, over the 20, and down at about the 18-yard line. And it's going to be another first down for McBain with 1:35 to go. Remember, the Ramblers with 1 timeout remaining. Looking at a first down now from the 18.
I don't want to call anybody out, but Drew just got away with a big hold there.
I think you're allowed to do that when it's your own son.
Okay.
Trips to the right for Sealand.
No flag flies. It didn't happen, right?
That's exactly right. So I'm told. Looking for Verberkmos in the corner.
Did he get one in?
He did not. They say he did not have it before going out of bounds. Garrett Verberkmos with the Willie Mays over-the-shoulder catch. I think that's a good call, though. I'm going to be honest, Gary, that looked like he was still bobbling that as he went out of bounds.
I think it's the right call.
Yeah, absolutely. Might have had the foot down, but he did not have control of that ball as he went out of bounds.
But I know that there would be a lot of replays of that on the Rambler.
There would be a lot of replays, yes.
I'm gonna be the odd duck and say I actually thought that probably should have been called a touchdown. You guys will have to let me know when you watch Ramblin' Review.
There you go. The tough part about high school football is you can't throw the red flag. So right. You get that wrong like that.
I'll go with the Pine River guy.
So 2nd and 10 now. Sealand looking over the middle. Has a man. George Brown III with the catch into the end zone. Touchdown, Ramblers.
Number 24, George Brown. And then passing touchdowns by Gavin Sealand.
George Brown, the 3rd string receiver. Sorry, that joke just never gets old. With the catch. And falls backwards into the end zone. And the Ramblers go up 13-7. And now George Brown will try the extra point. Straight up. It is good. And with 1:14 remaining, it's a 14-7 McBain lead. Go ahead, Gary.
I was going to say he was taken out at the knees after that one and laying on the ground.
We'll take a quick break. 1:14 left here in the first half. 14-7 McBain. We'll be back right after this.
Stop into High Point Auto and Truck Center in Cadillac for a great selection of new GMC and Cadillacs. High Point is your premier source for parts, services, tires, accessories, and new and certified used vehicles. We are your one-stop shop for every vehicle need that you may have. At High Point Auto and Truck, customer satisfaction is our goal. High quality, high standards, but low prices at High Point Cadillac GMC, located at exit 177 in Cadillac.
1:14 remaining in the third here at McBain High School. And look out for a blood red moon, because the McBain Ramblers have kicked 2 successful extra points, or twice as many as I think they've kicked all year long. And the Ramblers have a 14-7 lead over Pine River, as George Brown this time will kick it high. It is taken by a second level up man and churning the legs, trying to keep going despite multiple green jerseys hanging on to him, is Brock Nelson.
Again, Brock showing some of that power. He was able to push that pile a little bit. Was fortuitous to come up with that ball. He knocked it down with the one hand, and then rather than just fall on it, picked it up and maybe able to move it up the field a little ways.
Yeah, I have no idea what this is like, Brian. I'm sure you do, but being that good of an athlete, sometimes you just don't think, like you said earlier, you just don't think this is the wrong move. But your body says, no, I can make this happen.
Yeah, I think I remember being a young man a little bit. Sometimes I thought I could do things that I probably couldn't really do.
So first down from their own 42. Pine River looking to answer with 1:07 remaining here in the first half. Elijah Lewis. They're going to try to set up a little screen there for Nelson, and Nelson will get tackled. They're going to actually call him inbounds. And so the clock will continue. The catch is complete to Nelson, but he's going to be just shy of the 45, and now we're going to get a timeout at the 44-yard line, couple-yard gain. In that situation, Brian, trying to set up something away from the action with Elijah Lewis to catch the Ramblers maybe over pursuing?
Yeah, probably so, and obviously hoping to get to the sideline and get out of bounds too, but Ramblers were right there, Johnny, on the spot to make sure he didn't get to that sideline.
53 seconds remaining here in the first half. It's going to be second and about 8 for Pine River. We got a timeout on the field. They should have one more remaining, if I'm not mistaken, here in the first half.
Second timeout.
Don't forget, stick around for the halftime show. Halftime here will be brought to you by the fine folks at Mcbain Hardware. Stop by, see Ron and Tyler for all your hardware needs. As Gary's brother-in-law will tell you, if Mcbain Hardware doesn't have it, then you probably don't need it.
Hey, I tell you what, you know, if you didn't see that this was actually at Mcbain, then you just looked at the crowd on both sides, you couldn't tell who's the home team.
Oh, it's
look at the way the Pine River has come out for this game.
I've been remiss in my descriptions. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, there must be, how many would you say? Close to 1,000 Pine River faithful over there?
I'm good at estimating those things, but both of these communities obviously well known for supporting their student athletes very well over the years.
The stands are pretty well filled on the Mcbain side. Pine River, there's nowhere to go, and they're all standing along the fence all along the side.
Pass.
Lucas Hill wants to throw, and off the mark, intended.
Incomplete.
Yeah, Lane Rupert kind of hooking up on that play to try and catch that short one, and then tried to just get to the sticks and get out of bounds, but it was out of his reach. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Luke Hill take a shot to Lane Rupert, maybe a little further downfield after that play. That might have been a setup play.
See if Nostradamus is right, and if he is, I think we have his nickname. 49.5 seconds remaining here in the first half. Hill in the pistol. 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right, 2 backs. Hill will hand it off. Elijah Lewis. Lewis, room to run on the left side. Lewis upfield, over midfield. Lewis taken down by George Brown III and a friend just outside the 45-yard line of the Ramblers. It'll be a first down, but he was brought down inbounds, so the clock will start when they place this down with 42 seconds to go.
That's why I coach basketball.
Mcbain 46-yard line.
39 seconds left in the second.
Same setup. Hill looking to pass. Hill firing across the middle. Tapped off the hands of both Rupert, the intended receiver, and then the hands of George Brown, Garrett Verberkmos defending behind him. And then it lands incomplete. 32.3 seconds remaining. It'll be second and 10 now from the Mcbain 46.
Well, this is interesting how we, when we see Elijah Lewis in the Wildcat versus this, where they're only going with a 3-man rush for Mcbain, and it almost looks like close to a 2-man rush with Cade Brown way outside.
I guess it begs the question, Brian, can Luke Hill run or Brian Goodnow throw? Or Elijah Lewis throw?
I'll let you finish this play.
Hill will take it straight up the middle. He was caught in the backfield, and somehow the Ramblers defending the pass backed off so far. Hill had plenty of room straight up the middle, and he's going to pick up another Pine River first down just the other side to the 35-yard line.
Now, there's part of your answer. Luke's not the most fleet of foot, but he is a good athlete, and he does seem to have a pretty good knack of when to tuck it and just get straight ahead and get yardage.
20 seconds to go. Back to throw is Hill. Hill out to the right flat. Has Lewis. Lewis makes a man miss. Lewis headed for the sideline is going to get pulled down, and they will continue the clock with 10 seconds, and Pine River will call their final timeout. What we believe is their final timeout with 9.4 seconds remaining here in the first half. 14-7. Mcbain with the lead.
Down and 4 for the Bucks.
And this is going to be second and short from about the 28-yard line. You're listening to WCDY, Mcbain, Cadillac, Lake City. Jay Simon alongside Gary Hawkeye Vanna and Brian Goodnow. Mcbain with the 14-7 lead. 2 Gavin Seeland touchdown passes late in this half answered the 62-yard Elijah Lewis dazzling touchdown run on the opening possession of the game. It has largely been a defensive struggle until, as mentioned, the Ramblers put it together on their last 2 drives. Pine River trying to answer here before the half, have a second and short from the Rambler 27-yard line. So I'm going to ask both of you gentlemen, what do you dial up with this much time on the clock? Do you try to get 2 plays out of this by going to the sideline? Or do you give it to Elijah Lewis, see if he can just bust one? Because I'd just give it to Elijah Lewis and see if he can bust one.
I would cut the field in half and give it to Elijah Lewis on one half of the field, telling him that the sideline is his friend, and have him push it that way.
I think that's a veteran analytical call right there.
Hey, is Johnny B too good? Too obvious?
Johnny B good now? I don't think it's too obvious.
Okay. Too cliched? I mean, have you heard that one before? I bet you have.
Maybe.
Here we go. Hill looking to throw, throwing to the left side, picked off. Garrett Verberkmos with the interception, and then slips to the turf at the 15-yard line. He was looking for a big run back, but he tried to cut, and the turf went out from under him. But the Verberkmos interception will end the Pine River Drive with 3.4 seconds left, and I would expect we'll see a Rambler kneel to end the half.
3 seconds. You can see interception.
So
That's be an interesting call. Yeah, he's underneath center.
Yep, he is under center. He will take the knee. And at the half, Mcbain with a late surge, couple of touchdown passes from Gavin Seelan has given the Ramblers a 14-7 lead over the Pine River Bucks. We'll take a break and be back with some first half thoughts and analysis right after this.
Officiating high school sports is a great way to stay involved and give back to today's kids the way others paid it forward. It's certainly not for everybody, but those fans can help officials by respecting the fact that they're out there for the kids, even when they see the game differently and probably correctly than you. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
In the small town of Mcbain lies a locally owned family pharmacy that takes pride in helping improve the health of every patient that comes through the door. At Mcbain Family Pharmacy, you're more than just a prescription. Here, you're family, and their experienced team of professionals are always available to answer any questions you may have regarding prescription and over-the-counter medications. Mcbain Family Pharmacy is your full-service family pharmacy for both traditional and compound medications. Call them today at 231-825-8175. That's 231-825-8175. Or stop by their store, located at 119 North Roland Street in McBain.
When it's late, when it's snowing, when you just have to have it. It's nice knowing McNally's Party Store in downtown McBain is open 7 days a week, locally owned and operated with the friendliest cashiers helping to serve your grocery needs. From candy and chips to pop and munchies, McNally's Party Store, they're still keeping it cold. And wishing the McBain Ramblers good luck in tonight's game. That's McNally's Party Store in downtown McBain, open 7 days a week.
Crandall Precision is your start-to-finish custom machine shop specializing in custom machine components and repair work with no minimum quantity limit. Need a special part you're having a hard time finding? Bring it to Crandall Precision and see what they can do for you. Crandall Precision has been offering fast, high-quality work for over 35 years, and they are committed to continuing that for years to come. Call Crandall Precision at 231-775-7101. That's 231-775-7101. Or you can reach them by email at crandallprecision@gmail.com. Crandall Precision, high-quality custom machine parts for any project, big or small.
When you're in the need for urgent medical care, it's nice to know there's someone close by who can help. Cadillac Urgent Care, formerly the Cadillac After Hours Clinic, is ready to serve your medical needs. They've just brought in a new staff and new providers who are ready to see you in a warm, comforting family atmosphere. Cadillac Urgent Care is located behind the hospital on Cobb Street in Cadillac, and they're open 7 days a week starting at 9 a.m. So when your primary care office is closed or you're just not able to get an appointment, Cadillac Urgent Care is there for you. If you're in need of a sports physical, DOT physical, in-house point of care testing, and much more, let Cadillac Urgent Care care for you. Stop by or visit them on the web at CadillacUrgentCare.com.
Making the final arrangements for a loved one is never easy. At Burkholder Family Funeral Home in McBain, they can help you get through the process one step at a time. Serving the families in McBain and the surrounding communities for over 40 years, they take pride in providing exceptional services that families can actually afford. The caring and compassionate staff at Burkholder Family Funeral Home can help ease the burden. Burkholder Family Funeral Home. Visit them today at 211 North Pine Street in McBain or call 231-825-8191.
14-7 our score here at the half at McBain High School. McBain Ramblers lead the Pine River Bucks in this Division 7 pre-district playoff contest. Winner of this advances to the district final to take on either Lake City or North Muskegon. Our last report regarding Lake City was they led 9-0 after the first quarter. We do not have another update quite yet, but you know, we won't blame you if you quickly flip over to 107.1 The Drive to find out what that score is. Rick Swanson with the call over there. Meanwhile, here, Jay Simon alongside Gary Hawkeye Vanna and Brian Johnny B. Goodnow, according to Hawkeye.
No, it was just
was that just a test?
That was a test.
Okay, well, I'm throwing it out. If
It's the one we have so far.
If you get any texts that say that's terrible, then we'll know, right?
It didn't stick.
It didn't stick. Okay,
Nope.
well, pretend I never said that, although it is recorded for posterity.
Right.
Gentlemen, the first time these two teams met, week 5, we talked about all the turnovers in the sloppy conditions. It was wet. They never threw the ball. We've had some turnovers early in this one, but the air attack in particular for McBain has been very effective. Gavin Seelan with a couple of touchdown throws to give the Ramblers the lead here. Meanwhile, for Pine River, I'm not second-guessing head coach Terry Martin. He does a fine job over there, and certainly the Ramblers have pinned their ears back and gone after number 4. But, boy, Elijah Lewis is just a threat to take it to the house every time he touches the ball. And I got to figure he can throw it. Maybe just let him try once or twice to keep him back.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that's something they're maybe keeping in the back pocket for a little bit here. I would not be surprised to see that come out. Elijah's not a great passer. The ball certainly doesn't have the arm that Luke Hill has, but he's capable. He could do that. Now, one of my main concerns for the Pine River sideline was at the end of the half there, Elijah Lewis was showing a very, very noticeable limp as he walked toward the sideline. So he might be dinged up a little bit as they head into the second half as well.
Well, and you mentioned earlier, too, after a possession, I know, I remember it was on the near sideline when he got tackled that you said that he was on the sideline, helmet off, getting looked at.
Right.
So hopefully he is okay. That's it's all about these kids, and we don't want any of these kids being injured, especially the kid that may have to play significant minutes for a certain varsity basketball coach someday.
Right. Yeah, for sure. He's a key cog in our machine when we get to the hard court as well. So I'd like to see him stay healthy, but you know, they're living in the moment, and he's going to want to do everything he can to make things happen. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen a little bit more of Brock Nelson running the ball. He had that one nice run up the middle. I think he got 10, 12 yards. But you know, he's a good change of pace too. When they're really keying on Elijah Lewis, oftentimes that opens things up for Brock. But the Ramblers have obviously, you know, sniffed that out and limited those opportunities.
62-yard touchdown run by Lewis to start the game, Hawkeye. Since then, the Ramblers have done a great job, forced a couple of turnovers, and defensively, they've just not allowed Pine River to really get anything going. The adjustment was clear, go after Lewis, and he hasn't been able to really get much going. What kind of adjustment do you expect them to try and anticipate maybe for the second half?
You know, that's a great question, because like Brian just said, they really haven't gone to Brock Nelson very much. And they have the passing package with the dime backfield there when Elijah's at wide receiver. When he's in the Wildcat, they're bringing the everybody up on the line to string it out right away. And there is no hybrid between the two, and I think that's where they can get caught, because they're playing one extreme or the other on every single defense possession, and they're not playing a base defense at any time.
I think that'll be interesting to see in the second half if, as an offensive adjustment for Coach Martin and Pine River, if they do decide to try and exploit that and maybe do have Elijah try and throw it over the top to a receiver. But you know, the passing game has belonged to the Ramblers tonight. That's been very impressive. That's obviously been their most effective tool out there.
Yeah, Gavin Seelan coming back after not playing on the offensive side of the ball. He did play defensively last week against Fremont, but they used 3 other quarterbacks actually at different times in that contest. But Seelan back under center, and you can see where his arm definitely makes a difference for the Ramblers.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And he has the chemistry with his wide receivers and stuff like that. You know, some argue that George Brown actually has a little bit better arm, but he just doesn't have the experience, and he doesn't have the anticipation of knowing exactly, or actually just feeling what the people are going to do. And I have to give you a little reminder. You got another week before basketball season starts, so if the guys win, they can still play next week and still come fresh for you.
Yeah.
So we don't have to give them any rest. They're 17 and 18-year-olds. They don't need the rest, because that only free time for a 17, 18-year-old never is a good idea.
That's true. That's true. And, you know, I go back a couple of years ago when Pine River did go to the semifinals, and when the guys did finally lose, of course, we were a week into our allotted practice time at that point, and I sent a text out, you know, that over that weekend and said, if any of you guys need a few days off, I understand. And Monday afternoon, every one of them was there. So you're right. I mean, the kids are resilient unless they get some sort of an injury that they're nursing. That they know they'll turn around and be there. But I know they'd like to keep playing football for a little while.
I got to say, George Brown III is the Jeff George of high school quarterbacks to me. Throwing off the back foot, just sort of flinging it around there because he's got such a good arm.
Yeah.
Just looks so lackadaisical and yet very dangerous. When
I just want to let you know you just lost 3/4 of the audience when you said Jeff George.
It was only for you two. I didn't care who else got it.
Yeah, Jeff George and Eric Hibble are two of my all-time.
Yeah. I get that look when I use Vinnie Johnson references at basketball practice.
Oh my gosh, that's what kind of world are we living in when nobody knows who the microwave is. Hey, update for you over on 107.1 The Drive. Lake City has a 16-15 lead over North Muskegon. That game a little tighter than maybe teams expected. Lake City, or people expected. Lake City coming in that game 9-0. North Muskegon 5-4, but did play a pretty tough schedule. So Lake City at home. As we mentioned, the winner of that game will play the winner of this one next week in Lake City. If it's the Lake City is the winner, at the winner of this game, if Lake City were to lose or be upset over on that side. We are at halftime here in Mcbain. It's the Mcbain Hardware halftime show. Stop in and see Ron or Tyler for all your hardware needs. As Gary's brother-in-law will tell you, if Mcbain Harbor doesn't have it, you probably don't need it. And we also want to thank the Mcbain Lake City Family Pharmacies, LC Materials, Amp Wireless Pluger Mechanical, McNally's Party Store, Crandall Precision, Randy's Party Store, and Leroy Milling for their support of tonight's broadcast. Couldn't do it without those folks. If you get an opportunity to stop into any of those businesses and thank them, let them know you heard them here on 107.9 CDY, and tell them thank you for their support of tonight's broadcast. 14-7, Mcbain with the lead over Pine River at halftime. We're going to take another quick break, and we'll be back with some first half stats right after this.
DJ McQuestion and Sons have been moving dirt and building roads since 1949. Their objective is to provide the highest quality in technology, equipment, and construction skills. The owners and employees of DJ McQuestion and Sons, Inc., many of them Pine River alumni, congratulate the Pine River Bucks varsity football team on their success this season and wish them continued success in tonight's game. DJ McQuestion and Sons, we do it in the dirt.
Baker College is a comprehensive academic institution with programs ranging from health and engineering to business and technology. Undergraduate and graduate programs are led by award-winning, academically accomplished faculty. Baker College offers the flexibility to provide all students a path toward graduation while striving to cultivate and encourage positive action, critical thought, and the knowledge that students need to head into the world. If you'd like to learn more about joining the ranks of the Baker Proud, call 231-876-3119 today.
Sportsmanship is still relevant in school sports. Good sportsmanship should be a given at our games. It's one of the primary reasons we have school sports to begin with, to help today's young people become tomorrow's community leaders. You can learn more about sportsmanship and download a full kit of sportsmanship ideas from the MHSA website at mhsaa.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Kelly's Pizza and Grill in McBain would like to take this opportunity to thank their loyal customers for all their years of support. It's with your patronage that Kelly's Pizza and Grill can continue to support local schools, churches, and charities, not to mention keep serving up great tasting breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. Open 6 days a week, Monday through Thursday, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 6 till 10. Always doing their best to serve the McBain community, Kelly's Pizza and Grill, 100 Maple Street in the heart of McBain.
And welcome back to McBain High School. Jay Simon alongside Gary Hawkeye Vanna and Brian Goodenow. 14-7, McBain Ramblers with the lead over the Pine River Bucks Division 7 pre-district contest, playoff contest that we have for you here. And it's been a good one so far. A few turnovers in the game, but there have been some offensive fireworks. 62-yard touchdown run from Elijah Lewis and a couple of touchdown passes from Gavin Seelan for the Ramblers. Otherwise, the defenses have had their say tonight in large part. Hawkeye, you've got some stats on the iPad of doom. What you got there?
Well, you know, it's kind of interesting because there's the tale of two different types of offensive styles. Is Pine River is just crushing us on the ground with 103 yards rushing to McBain's mere 48 yards. But in the air, McBain has got 145 yards of passing to Pine River's 25 yards. Really, to tell you how close this game is, both teams have 2 turnovers. McBain's averaging 5.2 yards per carry, and Pine River's averaging 5.3 yards per carry. So it's just 0.1 yard difference. on that. Leading the stats for the McBain Ramblers, Gavin Seelan came in off the bench, and he, after a bullpen session, threw 11 for 17, 145 yards. Leading receivers, Logan Ronabaugh with 5 catches and 72 yards. The majority of those are runs after the catch. There's about 3 or 4 yard passes to him each time. Justin Camphouse, 3 catches for 28 yards and a huge touchdown catch. George Brown, the 3rd string receiver, got 1 catch for 19 yards and a touchdown. Auden Ailing had another catch for 16 yards, and Garrett Verberkmos only 1 catch for 10 yards. Rushing is led by Logan Vandenbos, who went out in the second quarter with a knee injury. 4 rushes for 25 yards. Gavin has 8 rushes for 18 yards. George Brown, the 3rd string running back, has 12 yards on 2 rushes. Logan Ronabaugh has 1 rush for 5 yards. Defense led by Justin Camphouse with 6 tackles. Bam Bam Noah Hendrickson has 4 tackles, and Owen Bontico has 5 tackles. That is your stat wrap-up.
Well, Brian, you talked a little bit about what we might see, what some potential options for Pine River as far as the offense goes. Because as we talked about earlier in the halftime, and this is the McBain Hardware halftime show, we talked about how McBain defensively, it sort of looked like they were pinning the ears back. Where's number 4? Wherever he is, we're going to make sure we've got plenty of eyes on him. If he's in the Wildcat, we're going to all be up in the box. And they were just not going to allow him to take off. He broke, our estimation, 10 tackles on that opening touchdown run, and then sprinted to the end zone. And he just hasn't really been able to get anything going since then.
Right.
What other sort of offensive adjustments do you think we might see?
I know Coach Martin isn't big on reinventing the wheel. You know, he's just with what works. And even if it's that mentality of, you know, it didn't work this time, it didn't work this time, it didn't work this time, but it might work that 4th time, or it might work that 6th time, you know. So I'd expect to see a lot of the same, to be honest with you. But I do think that it's very possible we'll see a little bit more of Brock Nelson, or even Lucas Hill in some games earlier in the year where teams just absolutely said, the Lake City game comes to mind against Pine River. Lake City just said, we are not letting number 4 beat us. And Luke Hill was able to, tuck it away and get some good yardage himself. So, I think that they'll continue to try Elijah Lewis, but I do think that some of those other guys are going to have to start picking up some yardage on the ground. Pine River's not going to be a big air it out team. You know, I think for them, they would be happy to maybe connect on a couple of those downfield to Lane Rupert or Marcus Jurek, but that's just not their game. If I were coaching, which I'm definitely not a football coach, again, I think you got to try and get the ball in Elijah Lewis's hands. So maybe set up some kind of a little screen game or something like that to get him a little bit of room and space.
And Hawkeye, on the other side of the ball, McBain showed life offensively, as you mentioned, by getting it through the air with Gavin Seelan. They've got a 14-7 lead. Do they stick with that sort of thing, or are we going to see a little bit more on the ground? Logan Vandenbos has not returned to the game since leaving with the leg injury.
You know, when you get the momentum back, I don't know why you change until they make you change. And Pine River really hasn't made them change. And with that spread offense McBain has, and if they can even pick up the pace even more, get those receivers 3-yard, 2-yard catches and get them out in space and see what they can do on one-on-one.
And as Brian mentioned, that underneath passing game has been there. They've taken a couple shots downfield that they haven't been able to quite connect on, but under 15, 10 yards, they've been there.
There's room for those. And as you said, Gary, the receivers are getting great yardage after catch, and aided oftentimes by very nice downfield blocking from the other receivers too. So.
And they're throwing the opposite side of Elijah Lewis, and they're kind of trying to take his speed on the defense and out. He can't get to him until after they have the first down.
Yeah, that could be a great Pine River offense, right? Throw the ball Elijah Lewis's way, interception, return it for a touchdown. Last thing, Pat Maloney, who is famously frightened of anything turnover and big play by the defense type stuff. He doesn't even like to kick off because he doesn't want to see kickoff returns that come back long. That would be a nightmare there. I didn't get a chance to mention this in the pregame because our pregame show was not all that long, thanks to some internet connectivity issues. McBain holds a 29-19 edge all time between these two schools in football. But did you know this is the first time they've ever met in the playoffs?
Is that right? I did not know that.
News to me. But it's weird that the McBain and Pine River are so close together, and there always seem to be weird districts, and they rarely meet.
Or D6 versus D7 a lot of times. Pine River being a little bigger.
Beyond football. Yeah. Even basketball or volleyball, as close as they are, there's oftentimes that they go opposite directions, and I can never figure out why they're not Highland Conferences and always playing each other in their districts.
It does seem that way, that it's sometimes we get odd matchups like that, and who knows what logic goes into some of those decisions. But I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but Erica is listening out in Nebraska via.
You are absolutely allowed to do
Thank
this.
you for listening, Erica. And also, just in the For What It's Worth department, 2 texts. My wife and Mrs. Rush, the former athletic director's wife, I never both texted and said no on the nickname. So for whatever that's worth.
I didn't disagree on that one at all.
That's my fault. It was untested. It was off the air. I should not have even brought it up.
That's exactly
that is
right.
Completely my fault. That is. Do not blame Hawkeye, who is the king of nicknames, for that one. That is all on me. That's been your McBain Hardware halftime show. We are just about ready to get the second half underway. McBain will be receiving the second half kickoff with a 14-7 lead. And the kickoff from Omar Aguilar will be taken by George Brown inside his own 15-yard line. Brown tries the right side, gets some blocking. Nice push off there. What a stiff arm from George Brown, and George Brown never did get brought down. Finally pushed out of bounds in front of his own bench. After crossing midfield, well, they're going to put it right at midfield. The nose of this ball will be on the 50-yard line. So a great run back by George Brown III to give McBain excellent field position here as we start the second half.
How's a kid that tall not get chopped in half by the?
And he runs so upright. George Brown.
Exactly.
He is
right.
Every inch, whatever 6'4" he is, he never seems to dip below that. No idea. Auden Ealing is your lone tailback. 4 receivers behind Sealand. They're going to give it to Ealing. And Ealing will try the middle. And the pile will get shoved backward. Give him, though, the 48-yard line of Pine River. And it'll be 2nd and 8 as the Ramblers go with no huddle.
And they're going quicker. Look at that.
Same formation. Logan Rodenbaugh this time in motion. Ealing will get the handoff, though, over the left side. Ealing leaping over one defender over the 45-yard line and down. Linesman marking him at about the 43-yard line, so it'll be about 3rd and 3 for the Ramblers as they again look to the sideline. Coach Maloney with the histrionics and wild arm motions, I'm sure calling something very important. I don't know what it is. Trips to the right for the Ramblers. Sealand rolling to his right. Pump fake. He'll pull it down. He's got the first down, and he'll run out of bounds inside the 35-yard line. Mark it at the 37. It'll be a first down for McBain. I don't know what to tell you this, Gavin Sealand, but nobody was buying that pump fake.
Just a little something to keep them honest, keep them guessing.
That's right. Again, Ramblers, no huddle. Ball is marked. Ramblers are ready. Rodenbaugh in motion again. Sealand keep it himself. Try the left side. And now he'll tuck it, and nice tackle. Did you catch the number on that one, Brian? Because I want to give that Pine River defender some
That's Trenton
credit.
Holmes tracking that down from behind again.
Trenton Holmes, Brian, was caught in that position where he had to sort of keep half an eye on Logan Rodenbaugh in the option. And I thought that Gavin Sealand was going to have an opportunity to turn that upfield, and Trenton Holmes reached out with one arm and said, nay. Strong tackle from the big fella. So trips to the right again for the Ramblers. 2nd and 10, no gain. Sealand in the shotgun. Sealand rolling to his right. Has some time. Now he'll rush up the middle, cut it back to the left side of the field. Sealand with room. Sealand to the 20, and what a great tackle again. Bursting up, Brock Nelson came up and grabbed him around the legs as it looked like Sealand might have a shot to go up that left sideline, but Nelson with the tackle will stop him. Looks like at about the 23-yard line.
Tell you what, if it was anyone besides Lewis or Nelson on that one, Sealand has another 15 yards, but those two are very strong, fast players that did not bite on that little hip shake.
Pistol formation, Sealand with Rodenbaugh in motion. Handoff is to George Brown III. George Brown over the left side of the line, stumbling forward. And George Brown is up to around the 13-yard line. It's going to be very close to a first down. They will move the chains, so it's first down McBain at 13 as they continue to go no huddle.
1st and 10 on the 13-yard line.
2 receivers split to the right. Sealand lost the ball, and it got kicked right into the arms of Trenton Holmes. Pine River is going to come up with this, and it's going to be first down Bucks. Wow.
You know, if that ball would have just hit the deck, the Ramblers would have covered it with no problem. But, yeah, it hit a moving foot, and it just propelled it forward.
There were 4 green jerseys around it, but it got kicked right to Trenton Holmes, who just fell on top of it. And so Pine River gets it right back.
You can't blame George Brown on that one. He's used to seeing a ball on the ground laying on his side. and all he ever does is kick it anyways.
So with 9:28 to go here in the third quarter, Pine River gets the ball back at their own 13-yard line.
Is out there.
Man in motion is Lewis. Lewis will take it, trying the left side, trying to cut back, wrapped up, and then gang tackled and brought down at around the 10-yard line.
That's maybe one of those ones where he'd have been better off to just continue on with the play as it was drawn up. He tried to cut it back and make something out of it, and wasn't going to gain much even if he had continued to the near sideline, but maybe a yard or two. When he turned back, the Ramblers were right there ready for him.
They still have the cornerbacks rolling up tight on the wide receivers to string out any type of jet sweep to Elijah Lewis right now.
There's going to be a lot of green jerseys there.
The only defender really deep for Mcbain at all is Daniel Rodenbaugh. Garrett Verberkmos now back a bit as Lucas Hill's in at quarterback. And here you go. Nelson, look at Lewis across the middle, caught. Lewis at the 30, 35, 40. Lewis gets a block. Now cutting back to the middle of the field, makes two men go to the ground. Lewis will finally get dragged down in the middle of the field, just shy of the 45-yard line of Mcbain. Logan Rodenbaugh making possibly a touchdown-saving tackle as they finally dialed up something a little different and found Elijah Lewis on a halfback pass from Brock Nelson.
I think it was Brian Fauble actually who took that toss, 26, and threw that pass. And I know that's one they've worked on out of the slot for the last few years. So they make that pitch to one of the slot guys in motion, and he throws that halfback pass.
First down at the Mcbain 46-yard line. Elijah Lewis does leave the field, however. Again, limping a smidge, but as you mentioned, Brian, he's not coming off until that leg falls off, if he can help it. Lucas Hill at quarterback in the pistol. They send Fauble in motion. Fauble will take the pitch. Fauble around the right side, gets a block, hit in the backfield, sheds that tackler, and then takes it over the 45 down to about the 43-yard line of the Ramblers. 3-yard gain. It'll bring up about a 2nd and 7.
Fauble's a kid with good speed too, and he's one of those ones kind of waiting in the wings type of guys who will be getting a lot of those touches that Elijah Lewis has had this year in his senior year next season.
7:45 to go here in the third quarter. 14-7, Mcbain with the lead. Pine River, though, in Mcbain territory, going right to left. Come out with two receivers split to the right, one to the left, one in the slot on the near side. Lucas Hill sends Fauble in motion. Lucas wants to throw. Hill straight over the middle, and we get a collision in the backfield. That was Rupert running into a Rambler defender, and we're going to get a flag. And pass interference on the Ramblers will give the Bucks a big first down. 15-yard penalty is going to take this up. I got to do the math, 28-yard line.
I think it's one of those cases where the Rambler defender was just in the way of route. When Lane Rupert turned to make his cut into the middle of the field, he ran right into the defender, but that knocked him off the route, and the flag came out.
First and 10, Pine River, 7:22 remaining here in the third quarter. Elijah Lewis is still on the sideline for Pine River, but they are moving the ball well now after he set them up with a big catch and run in Mcbain territory. Fauble is your slot receiver to the near side as the Bucks go right to left. Two tailbacks behind Lucas Hill. Hill in the pistol. Hill looking to pass, looks left, pump fake, throwing, wants a man deep, underthrown, and a nice job adjusting on the play by Marcus Jurek. As he looked back, saw the ball was underthrown, and was able to get inside the Rambler defender for the catch. It's going to be first and goal now for Pine River at the 5-yard line.
Luke Hill's going to tell you that wasn't underthrown. It was a back shoulder fade.
That's fine. I'll go with that. What do I know?
That's what I would say.
What do I know?
Luke checks out of the game, too, so there's Elijah Lewis back in, so they'll probably be running the Wildcat down here.
Sasha Kaufman checks in. Elijah Lewis is in.
Looking to the sideline for the play call. Lewis will be your running back. And we're going to get a timeout by the Ramblers. 6:50 remaining here in the third quarter. 14-7 Mcbain, but Pine River knocking on the door. First and goal from the 5. We'll take a quick break and be back right after this.
In In the small town of McBain lies a locally owned family pharmacy that takes pride in helping improve the health of every patient that comes through the door. At McBain Family Pharmacy, you're more than just a prescription. Here, you're family, and their experienced team of professionals are always available to answer any questions you may have regarding prescription and over-the-counter medications. McBain Family Pharmacy is your full-service family pharmacy for both traditional and compound medications. Call them today at 231-825-8175. That's 231-825-8175. Or stop by their store, located at 119 North Roland Street in McBain.
6:50 remaining here in the third quarter. McBain High School. Jay Simon alongside Gary Hawkeye Vanna. Brian, nickname to be determined, Goodnow. The Pine River Bucks trail, but they've got a 1st and goal from the McBain 5-yard line, set up by a huge catch and run from deep in Pine River territory by Elijah Lewis, who now comes out in the Wildcat. Well, now after the timeout by McBain, they've switched it up. Lewis is your tailback, and Lucas Hill is in at quarterback at the pistol. He will hand it off to Lewis, who is hit in the backfield and dropped. Noah Hendrickson coming up and making the tackle actually behind the line of scrimmage. Basically no gain on the play. It'll be 2nd and goal.
2nd and goal from the 6.
Well, you know, they're just pinning their ears back right now because they don't want Elijah Lewis to get loose. You know, he could be the best decoy out there for the Bucks at this position.
I was going to say, you've got Brock Nelson out there at the fullback position. Same formation now. Fullback is Nelson to the left. This time Hill's going to keep it himself. Hill is into the end zone. Touchdown, Pine River.
Touchdown.
So the fake up the middle drew all the green jerseys, and Lucas Hill obviously heard me. Take that, Mr. Simon. I can run the ball into the end zone, and we are at 14-13 with the extra point coming up.
And Gary called that one perfectly. You know, the Ramblers all keyed on number 4, and and Luke made his read, pulled it back out, and was able to get into the end zone on his own.
Aguilera is out for the extra point.
Omar Aguilera out for the extra point attempt. Try and knot this at 14 all. Good snap, good hold, and a good kick. 14-14, and I'll tell you right now, Aguilera could probably kick a field goal from about 35, 40 yards.
He's a weapon. He's made a couple of 35, 37-yarders this season, and he's a weapon that not a lot of high school teams have at this level.
Keep that one in mind. 6:09 remaining here in the third quarter. We are tied at 14 all as Pine River taking advantage of the McBain Rambler fumble deep in Pine River territory. Goes on a 87-yard drive that ends in the 5-yard Lucas Hill touchdown run. And we are knotted up at 14 all. Quick update for you over on our sister station B103 down in Reed City. The Coyotes have a 42-0 lead over Benzie Central. That one all over but the shouting.
They are that good. The Coyotes, we saw them firsthand. I had the opportunity to go and watch them firsthand last week, and they are a dominant football team for this area. And unfortunately for them, the way the draw went, the team they're likely to beat in the regional final would be the team that beat them in the semifinals last year, Swan Valley. But they're for real. They're an excellent football team.
So how fickle is that Lady momentum? Because McBain deep in Pine River think if they could have kept possession and you put a score 3 in a row, that would be a completely different game than tied up right now.
Chip shot kick is taken by one of the second level Ramblers, and then he is buried under a white avalanche. You can actually use that term because that's what it looks like
Number 20
in this situation. And Rodenball will be stopped at about the 33-yard line, call it the 32-yard line, and that's where McBain will take over. And you said it, Hawkeye. All the momentum Ramblers' way. They had the ball at the 13-yard line, looking to punch it in. And instead of a 21-7 score, we're knotted at 14. 4 receivers, Camp House in motion. Sealan out of the shotgun, looking to throw, wants for Berkmos, has it behind the defense. Garrett for Berkmos at the 30, 20, 10, touchdown Ramblers. Garrett for Berkmos sprinting up the right sideline, staying in bounds on the over-the-shoulder catch. And McBain, just like that, answers to go back up 20-14.
You know, earlier in the season, we had the receivers doubted Sealand's arm, and they kept on pulling up short on the routes, and it looked like Berkmos finally trusted Sealand could throw it that far and just kept it in stride and ran underneath the ball.
The extra point, number 24, George Brown.
George Brown will try the extra point.
See if you can go 3 for 3.
5:55 to go, and the extra point is blocked. And that could be huge. So with 5:55 remaining here in the third, McBain takes a 20-14 lead on the 68-yard touchdown catch by Garrett Verberkmos from Gavin Seelan. We'll take a quick break and be back right after this.
Your one-stop farm supply store is Falmouth Co-op in the heart of agriculture country. With locations at Falmouth and McBain, Falmouth Co-op has what you need to keep all your animals well-fed and healthy. Plus, bulk fuel and professional agronomy services like custom fertilizers and spraying and soil and grid sampling. Falmouth Co-op is your premier grain dealer and birdseed headquarters. And the McBain location has pizza, burgers, wings, and appetizers. Stop in today at either location in Falmouth and McBain. Falmouth Co-op is proud to support McBain's student athletes.
And welcome back to McBain High School. Jay Simon alongside Gary Huckeye Vanna. Brian Goodenow, 20-14. The McBain Ramblers with the lead. 68-yard touchdown catch and run by Garrett Verberkmos from the arm of Gavin Seelan. And after a defensively dominated largely first half, other than the early run by Elijah Lewis, now we've had the offenses both lighting it up either way, as the onside kick, squib kick by the Ramblers, is scooped and covered by Pine River. They'll take over at their own 46.
Well, there was an adjustment that Martin made there. I don't know if you noticed that, but that was the hands team on there on the kick return right away. They're not even going to mess around with any chances of an onside kick off that squib because they know they're not going to give it to Lewis deep.
Well, I was going to say, it's one of those things, if you've scouted McBain at all, you know they never kick the ball deep. I mean, I don't even think they've even tried.
Especially when it's laying on the ground. You know,
yeah,
you're not
sideways,
it up. That's, right. You're not going to kick it deep no matter how hard you try.
Maybe next time Elijah Lewis will be on the front line.
Scoop it up and go.
Hide him.
Know. Why not? Put him behind Trenton Holmes. You'll never see him. Hill in the pistol with two backs. Hill will hand it to Fauble. Fauble bounces off his blocker on the right side. We've got a flag coming out by the referee in the middle of the field after Fauble got out to the right side, got back to the line of scrimmage and was brought down. Auden Ealing coming up and making the tackle. But there is a flag, and it is going to be a hold on the Bucks. So this is going to go back from about the line of scrimmage and set up a 1st and 20 now for the Bucks.
You know, Mark Monaco, he was telling me that Pine River actually out-physically played Lake City when they played them, but they would make some penalties that kind of kill their drives. They've been playing very clean football tonight.
It'll bring up 1st and 20.
I'd probably agree with that from the game at Lake City's for the first half. I thought the Bucks were the more physical team, and then Lake City kind of took over dominance in the second half. But you're going to have to continue that against a very tough Rambler team tonight. I mean, it has been a very physical one in the trenches tonight.
1st and 20 now as Verberkmos comes up to the line. Back to pass. Under pressure and brought down from behind.
Quarterback Lucas Hill sacked by number 2, Justin Camphouse.
Justin Camphouse with the sack, coming from the blind side of Hill.
After a loss of about 6, it'll bring up.
And that'll take it all the way back to the 30-yard line. And Hawkeye, I believe we're technically in country mile territory.
We are a country mile right now. Yeah, Camphouse on that one. He's lining up on the receiver, and then he's just going to pursue on an outside blitz. And the linemen are taking care of the 3 linemen from McBain and didn't see him coming from the edge.
4:42 remaining here in the third quarter as Hill in the pistol with 2 receivers split to his left.
Jordan Brown's coming.
Want to set up something short. This is Jurek. Jurek avoids a tackler. Jurek gets free, and he's finally brought down out of bounds just over midfield. So a huge chunk of yards picked up by the Bucks on that pass play by Marcus Jurek as he shed 1 tackle and then used some stiff arms to shed a couple more.
You know what he did there is open up the whole playbook for Martin, because if he did not get that big gain, Martin's looking at what kind of plays you dial up to get 20 yards on.
Right.
But right now he's got the whole playbook when he only has to get 4 and maybe more.
3rd and 4 for the Bucks from the 48-yard line of McBain. And we're going to have a flag.
Flag on the play.
It is going to be a false start on the Bucks. So this will send it back 5, back into Pine River territory.
5-yard penalty. Make it 3rd.
Take it back to the 47-yard line of Pine River. It'll be 3rd and about 9.
Your own team. So now
4:27 to go here in the third. 20-14, McBain with the lead.
5-ish to 3rd and 9 now. Lewis in the slot far side.
Just realized, gentlemen, we can't hardly hear football because we got this window closed. Al wussed out. Lucas Hill back to throw. Quarterback draw all the way, and Hill is going to be dragged down by George Brown III, who came up the middle and did not buy the Lucas Hill pump fake. Brings him down back near the 45-yard line, call it the 46.
And that's just a case of the Ramblers getting upfield on that rush again and disrupting anything that Pine River wanted to do.
Well, the thing is, George Brown III was actually spying him on that the whole time, and he didn't care about anything else except for what Hill was going to do. He had one job, and that was to follow Hill.
So Josh on the punt to George Brown III.
Good snap. Campos coming in, chasing that punt. And this is going to go to the left sideline. George Brown will let that go, and it will roll inside the 20-yard line and be down at about the 17, and that's where McBain will take over. So the Ramblers get a big defensive stop after the touchdown, and because of the missed extra point, can't be going answering touchdown for touchdown because right now advantage Pine River, but McBain with that big stop defensively, 3:40 to go in the third. We'll get the ball back now at their own 17.
Yeah, now you got to start chasing 2-pointers because Aguilar will make every single extra point that they ask him to do.
Aguilar pretty much is kicking that to Wexford County through the, that's wrong direction, but you get my drift.
So he kicks it a long way.
He kicks it a very long way, yes he does. He has got a leg. You don't see that at the high school level all that often. Two split either way for Gavin Seelan. Draw immediately, Seelan running to his left side and tripped up just over the line of scrimmage is Gavin Seelan. Give him about the 22-yard line, gain of about 5. It'll bring up second and a long 5, maybe 6.
Second down and 6.
Need hash marks on the field. And we're going to get a referee's timeout.
Officials timeout.
Equipment issue.
Yep. It's going to send a Pine River Buck to the sideline for an equipment issue.
I was watching the.
It'll be interesting to see here if the Ramblers stay with that tempo that they opened up the second half with. Just get right to the line, step to the ball. That definitely caught the Bucks on their heels a little bit in that first possession.
Defensive tackle that was their assignment, just 5 yards downfield. This is Sealan in the shotgun with Brown.
Sealan again with 4 receivers. Wanted to set up a screen, now rolling to his right, throwing underneath. Logan Rodenbaugh with the catch. Rodenbaugh at the 35, and he'll get dropped just shy of the 40-yard line. Enough for a Rambler first down. A bit of a busted play, I think, Hawkeye, because I think they wanted to go to Rodenbaugh on a screen, and it got blown up.
It turned into backyard football. Go find the open spot and sit down, and that's what happened there.
I think it was a great job by Rodenbaugh of adjusting his route, too, because it did look like it was supposed to be that screen, and the defender came up. When the defender released, Rodenbaugh just moved back another 5 yards into that soft spot.
Run to the rock, turn right.
You're the bottle cap, and the fat kick goes deep because he's never getting the ball.
Logan Rodenbaugh in motion. Seelan will give it to him. Seelan around the left side, stumbling and falling a couple of yards back behind the line of scrimmage, helped to the ground by Trenton Holmes, or maybe just the mere presence of Trenton Holmes. He'd make me fall to the ground if he was threatening to tackle me. Call it the line of scrimmage. Actually, yeah, call it the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 10 for McBain.
Trenton's an old school kid too. You notice he doesn't have any of the Under Armour gear or anything like that. It doesn't matter what the temperature is. He's going to go bare arms, bare legs, and just give it his all.
He's got to be fun to coach in basketball, I would assume.
He's a great kid, a very hard worker.
4 receivers again for the Ramblers, going left to right. This time it is on Elin in motion. Seelan keeping it himself, and nothing doing there. Nice penetration again by the Bucks defensive line to get Seelan as he gets over the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard, and it's going to bring up 3rd and 9. So a very big 3rd down. I know it's early, minute 55 to go here in the third, but an opportunity now for Pine River to get a stop, force a Rambler punt from their own end of the field, and maybe get some solid field position to get this ball back.
Barton coming off the field right there. That means that McBain is going to be in a pass first look on this one.
Again, 4 receivers split either way. Camphouse in motion. Seelan wants to throw, looking left, now looking right. Now throwing, he's got Rodenbaugh, but too high Rodenbaugh found an opening in the defensive backfield, but Gavin Seelan having to throw possibly over Trenton Holmes on that side of the line, Brian, had to throw that a little high, and Rodenbaugh couldn't bring it in.
Yeah, getting it over, I think, at the line of scrimmage, that also the defender that was the mid-level, just a little bit too much, but boy, he was definitely wide open in that spot.
So a 4th and 9 for the Ramblers now, and Noah Hendrickson will come out to punt.
Pine River has nobody deep.
And he will send a gorgeous punt that needs to check up, and it will. And this will roll down to the 10-yard line. A terrific punt by Noah Hendrickson.
Down to the 10-yard line.
And that's where Pine River will take over. So great punt from Hendrickson, but the Bucks defense stepping up, getting the stop, and they'll get the ball back with 1:16 to go here in the third at their own 10-yard line.
And you get to, conference games, big conference games, and then you get to the postseason like this. That kicking game can be so important. The field position battle is so big, and both teams' punters have done a really nice job tonight of, giving their teams some room to work with.
So, 3-down lineman, it looks like. I cannot tell if Elijah Lewis is out there.
Pine River breaks the huddle. Lucas Hill is in at quarterback. Brock Nelson in the backfield with him. Elijah Lewis lined up in the slot. Send Fauble in motion. Hill will hand it off to Nelson, and Nelson will drag a couple of green jerseys forward just shy of the 15-yard line. Nice little 5-yard gain from Brock Nelson. It'll be 2nd and 5. And you mentioned it earlier, Brian. We were surprised that Nelson wasn't getting more touches. Maybe this is the part of the game against a tiring Rambler defense that we'll see him a little more.
Right. That could have been part of the game plan all along, to save Brock a little bit for the second half and let him use that power, as everybody starts to tire just a bit.
Inside 40 seconds to go here in the third quarter. 2 receivers split to the left for the Bucks. Elijah Lewis is in the slot to the right as the Bucks go right to left. Fauble in motion. He'll take the pitch out the right side. And nice penetration again by the Ramblers. I think I saw a flag come out on the far sideline as they dropped him right around the line of scrimmage. We'll see what the call is from the head linesman.
Bob was ball carrier, brought down by number 3.
23.9 seconds remaining in the third.
So as we're waiting for the call on this one.
It is a hold against the Bucks. This is going to take them back, I think, to about, well, let's see, it's inside the 20, so this should be half the distance, right?
Correct. Now, I see Elijah Lewis, and every time he gets around, he's limping. He's limping.
He's faking it.
You think there's any gamemanship going on there right now?
Elijah might have a little bit of Mickey Rivers in him.
I was thinking Tie Club.
One that probably only 2 of us are going to understand, but if anybody remembers, Mickey Rivers was a Major League Baseball player who would limp up to the plate and then just sprint like crazy once he hit the ball.
4 seconds to go. Will they snap it? They will. Hill will hand it off to Nelson. Nelson over the right side, and Nelson will take it back to around the 15-yard line, give him the 16. And that's how the third quarter will come to an end. 3rd and 4 coming up for Pine River when the fourth quarter comes up. 12 minutes left in this one. 20-14 McBain over Pine River. Division 7 playoff football coming back to you right after this.
Mr. Pibbs Restaurant is a family-style restaurant located directly on the White Pine Trail in Leroy. Our direct trail access makes it the perfect stop while bicycling or snowmobiling for a fun, relaxing meal. We serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner, including pizza, ice cream, burgers, and an all-you-can-eat Friday night buffet. Our menu is inspired by locally grown products that change with the seasons. Our slogan is Commit to the Mitt, and it's why we try to buy from Michigan companies whenever possible. Find us on Facebook or visit MrPibbsRestaurant.com. Mr. Pibbs on Mackinac Trail in Leroy.
Crandall Precision is your start-to-finish custom machine shop specializing in custom machine components and repair work with no minimum quantity limit. Need a special part you're having a hard time finding? Bring it to Crandall Precision and see what they can do for you. Crandall Precision has been offering fast, high-quality work for over 35 years, and they are committed to continuing that for years to come. Call Crandall Precision at 231-775-7101. That's 231-775-7101. Or you can reach them by email at crandallprecision@gmail.com. Crandall Precision, high-quality custom machine clean parts for any project, big or small.
And welcome back to McBain High School. Jay Simon alongside Gary Hawkeye Vanna and Brian Goodnow. 20-14, McBain leads Pine River here in this Division 7 playoff football contest, brought to you in part by Northern Truck Service, Huntingdon Electric, McBain Rural Agricultural Schools, Ebel's Hardware, and Holton's LP Gas. Pine River with the ball, 3rd and 4 from their own 16-yard line. Lucas Hill at quarterback, trying to see if he can draw the Ramblers offsides with a bit of a hard count. Ramblers not biting. Now the snap. Hill will hand it off. And was that Elijah Lewis in the backfield?
That was Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis. You know the reason I was confused? He didn't look that fast on that. Right? I know he was still setting things up.
Might have had something to do with
that. You don't look that fast with Bam Bam on one hip and Bonico on the other. I'm sorry.
No, it just even right off the and I'm sure he's just sizing things up, looking for the hole, but it's one of those weird situations where you go, oh, that guy's not moving as quick as I'm used to seeing. Early here in the 4th, still 16-15 over in Lake City, by the way, over on 107.1 The Drive. Trojans putting a drive together. We've got somebody listening to that game here in the press box, so you can stay with us and we'll continue to give you updates selfishly. 4th and 2 now for Pine River. Punter is back, and he will kick this off. Shaw to George Brown, who muffs it, and then Brown trying to just pick it up instead of falling on it. It's going to get taken away by Trenton Holmes. George Brown probably should have just put his body on top of that ball, but he tried to pick it up with his hands, and Trenton Holmes came in and said, thank you very much. This belongs to me.
Trenton Holmes, who's the long snapper as well as the regular center, and first one down the field to cover that.
So with 11:22 to go, it essentially ends up a big 4th down play by Pine River, and they've got a first down now at their own 47-yard line.
And Lewis was out there in the huddle, but he came back off, so they're going to start this series with Elijah Lewis on the sideline.
1st and 10 at the 47. Lewis is on the sideline, as Brian mentioned. Hill at quarterback. Hill wants to throw. Hill looking right. Now he'll pull it down and take off forward. We got a flag in the back, the defensive backfield, as Hill will be tripped up at the McBain 40-yard line. For the moment he has a first down. Usually there in the backfield, it's going to be against the defense unless somebody saw Hill scrambling and then held. So anybody's guess here.
I think the flag came out before he started to go forward with his run.
Yeah, so that's likely going to be against the Ramblers, and it's just going to give Pine River even more room. Waiting for the call, the back judge talking to the referee. This is great radio, folks, I realize.
We're all waiting for the call.
That's the thing, is that
they're keeping us in suspense.
They sure are.
Yeah, and they called one captain or the other, but they just pointed McBain's way.
Holding on McBain.
Was that a holding call?
Yep.
It
Defensive
was.
holding.
Defensive holding.
Holding on the Ramblers.
Again, that's what you would expect in that situation. Ball's not in the air yet. And the flag coming out.
10 for the Bucks on the 30-yard line.
So they gave him the play in there?
So they're going to mark it at the 35-yard line.
I love that line.
Yeah. Not sure anybody heard that. Handoff to Brock Nelson, who will take it over the 35 up to the 33. The confusion or the expression from the McBain fans, if you are picking up on that, was the confusion for getting the defensive holding call as well as a result of the play. However, a holding call, I don't know if defensive holding is different, but a holding call is usually from the spot of the foul, which would make some sense of where it was. It's not really getting the result of the play. It's because the hold happened in the back.
Right.
But I don't know if that's true. Lucas Hill on the keeper is going to be piled up
Number 2,
shy of the line of scrimmage.
Brought down by number 44, Noah Hendrickson.
That's the only thing that I'm not sure of.
I'm not totally sure of that either. That's one thing I've learned is that oftentimes we as fans and spectators don't know and broadcasters. the rules as the officials do.
No, that's
so
why they're
oftentimes we have to just trust their judgment on things like that.
Yep.
Listen to me.
100%. No, it's the truth.
You're honest,
No, it's
Mr.
the
Official. I know. I trust you know what you're talking about. I would never
Well, as I have said before on other broadcasts, the two hardest jobs in the universe are mothering and officiating, and I want nothing to do with either one.
Agreed.
Lewis in motion. They want to hit Lewis on a screen pass, and that is going to be incomplete. And it's going to bring up 4th and 7 now for Pine River at the Mcbain 28-yard line.
And I don't think that play was going to go anywhere anyway. The defenders had read that and were right there ready to make the tackle. I would fully expect Pine River to go for this in this field position, though.
That's the problem with sending Elijah Lewis on a motion play out to the side, because every green jersey sees number 4 running out to the left side. And even if they're not responsible for him, they're still thinking about it. So now they'll line him up in the right slot, and they will go for it. 4 receivers for the Bucks. Fauble in motion. Lucas Hill back to throw. Rolling to his right. Wants to throw underneath. Caught by Elijah Lewis. And he's got a first down. Elijah Lewis somehow getting lost in the defensive backfield. Why he's not triple teamed, I don't know. And he has a Buck first down just the other side of the 20-yard line, mark it at the 19.
I think we need to give the Pine River offensive line a little credit on that play, too, for giving Luke Hill time to set up in the pocket and let that play develop for Elijah to break free over the middle.
Well, and I think, too, Hawkeye, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the Ramblers rushed more than 2, if 3, if that. It didn't look like there was really anybody even trying to come after him. They were so concerned with staying back and trying to play defense in the DB area there. Secondary is the term most people would use. Lucas Hill will hand it off to Nelson. Nelson stays on his feet after being tripped up initially, spins and then is stopped shy of the 15. Give him the 17. Couple-yard gain. It'll be 2nd and 8. 8:44 to go here in the final quarter of this Division 7 pre-district football playoff game.
Well, we do know that Pine River's in field goal territory right now, so you should be looking at them coming away with some points at this point, but Mcbain needs to hold it to just 3.
Hill with 2 backs behind him in the pistol, wants to throw, looking left, firing, has a man open, and through the hands, unfortunately, of Jurek, and out of bounds. That was a missile from the arm of Lucas Hill.
That one was coming in hot.
Third down and 7 for the
With the temperature out there, that kind of a pass, no, thanks anyway.
And I think that was right about the sticks, too. I mean, that probably would have been good for that first down if Marcus would have been able to reel that one in. But, again, came in really hot and off the hands. I'm sure, like you said, that cold air on the hands, especially for a receiver, you're not engaged in every play, making contact. Those hands probably aren't as warm as they could be.
8:16 to go in the game. 3rd and 7 now for the Bucks from the 15-yard line of Mcbain. Pistol formation. They send Lewis in motion. They'll give it to Lewis. Lewis trying to try on the left side, trying to turn upfield and slips and goes down right about the 15. So it's going to bring up 4th down now.
4th down and 7 for the
Big play by Justin Camphouse right there is not only did he take on his blocker, but he also took off the trap and left Lewis man on man with Daniel Rodenbaugh, and he just couldn't escape Daniel when it was stretched out that far. Tell you what, Lewis is a gamer out there. He doesn't seem he has one good wheel at the moment.
Lewis in the slot to the near side. Bucks going left to right, and now we're going to get a timeout from Mcbain. And correct me if I'm wrong, Hawkeye, I believe it's their 2nd timeout of the half.
I'm not going to correct you. I never would do that.
7:41 to go in the ball game. 20-14. Mcbain with the lead. Pine River the big 4th and 7 coming up from the 15-yard line. We'll be back right after this.
Why do high school sports really exist? For 99% of the participants, it's the biggest stage they will ever play on, and it provides the most educational value, teaching sportsmanship, ethics, integrity, hard work, and teamwork. It's about playing with local friends against local rivals and creating lifetime relationships. They build community spirit, and they're worthy of your continued support. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
And welcome back to Mcbain High School. Jay Simon alongside Gary Hawkeye Vanna, Brian Goodenow, and Zach Wiggins turning the dials for us back in the studio. Has been doing a great job of keeping us on point, getting all of those spots in.
He's been getting wiggy with it.
Well done.
I thought that's why we paid Hawkeye the big bucks. 4th and 7 from the 15-yard line. Here we go. Hill wants to throw. We got a whistle, though, before the play. And we're going to get a false start on Pine River. Oh, boy. And that is going to send them back now. And make it a 4th and 12 now from the 20. You're listening to WCDY, McBain, Cadillac, Lake City. Quick update for you. Over on the drive, the Trojans have scored, and they have a 23-15 lead over North Muskegon in that Division 7 pre-district contest.
You know, at this location, the way that Pine River's been needing to get the big yards, I don't know if that 5 yards is really going to hurt them that much.
Nope, this gives them more field to work with. Lucas Hill now in the pistol. Lewis in the slot to the near side. Hill wants to throw, looks left, looks back right, firing for the end zone, and incomplete. Auden Ealing defending on the play. And gentlemen, I'll defer to you. That hit Rupert in the numbers, but I think the McBain defender, Auden Ealing, might have got a hand on it and caused that incompletion because that was in Rupert's breadbasket.
Yeah, there was traffic there for sure. It looked from here like probably one that Lane would have come down with had it not been touched by a defender.
That's exactly what I thought happened, is that Ealing got enough on it to change the trajectory that it didn't go right where Rupert thought it was going to go in his hands, and it went into his chest, and that's why it fell.
So the Ramblers will take over. 7:33 to go in the ball game. They have a 20-14 lead. And now you've got McBain wanting to kill some clock, and Pine River being very well aware of that fact. So I would expect, well, I'll ask you guys, would you expect to see Pine River focusing on the run, and does McBain and Coach Pat Maloney take chances with shots with passes?
I think it does kind of force Pine River's hand. They have to, try and stuff that run, anticipate that. But, yeah, the Ramblers have moved the ball all through the air all night.
Hey, unbalanced line, so look at the play coming our way.
It's going to be a quarterback kick on this side.
Ramblers with an unbalanced line. As Hawkeye mentioned, they've got multiple receivers to the near side. Low snap. Seelan will pick it up. Seelan trying the left side, sprinting all the way. Seelan with room, and Seelan diving over the 30-yard line, over the tackle of Fauble. Will take it to the 30-yard line, and that is going to be enough for a first down. The head linesman calling for the chains to move forward. So with 6:46 to go, big first down picked up by Gavin Seelan.
Well, I think what I would like to see Maloney do at this point is run a quarterback pass option type thing where he's going to roll out one way up the pass, easy passes there to keep the clock moving. Pitch it. If not, then you just have Seelan run it and keep the clock going, in my opinion.
6.5 to go in the game. They send Camphouse in motion. Seelan rolling to his right. Seelan now looking to throw. He'll fire it over the middle. Underthrown for Verbergmos. Almost picked off one-handed by Jurek, defending on the play. That's a play there. Hawkeye Verbergmos had the defense beat up the middle, but Gavin Seelan threw it a little too much on a rope. Didn't get it up in the air. And boy, I'll tell you what, Jurek almost made a one-handed circus pick.
Well, the thing is that this is the first time that Verbergmos has had a defensive back on him that looks him eye to eye.
That is a fair point. 6:17 remaining after the incompletion. Clock is stopped. 2nd and 10 for McBain. Handoff is to Auden Ealing, and Ealing will take it up to the 35-yard line. So that'll bring up 3rd and 5 now for McBain as the clock approaches the 6 minutes to go mark here in the 4th. Update for you, North Muskegon has scored. 2-point conversion, however, failed, and Lake City now has a 23-21 lead with about 11 minutes left in that game.
Yeah, it sounds like North Muskegon ran back the kickoff after that long Lake City touchdown drive to tighten it back up again.
Seelan in the shotgun. He's got trips to his right. Ethan Barton, the lone receiver, to his left. Auden Ealing is your tailback. Seelan immediately running to his right, looking to pull it down and run. Seelan around the right edge has the first down and driven out of bounds after crossing the 45-yard line. It was a great tackle. Trenton Holmes bringing him down like a sack of bricks. It's like as soon as Holmes got a hold of him, they both went to the turf in an instant. But Seelan does have a first down at the 48-yard line of McBain. And Gavin Seelan
And officials timeout.
Looked like he got up a little slowly. I think he's got to come off the field for something.
Blood, I believe.
Yeah, it could be it. He's looking at his arm. So that means Justin Camphouse.
No.
George Brown III. George Brown III will play quarterback.
George Brown the third string quarterback.
There you go. It's a first down, McBain at their own 48-yard line.
McBain has the ball at the 48-yard line.
As Pat Maloney calls in the play, 5:31 remaining in the game. Brown is in the pistol. Takes the handoff, immediately runs left, and stumbles forward over midfield. But the thing about George Brown, the third Hawkeye, is when you do get him by the legs, he picks up about 4 more yards just by falling forward by virtue of where the ball's being held.
But that is the truth. If you get him at the legs, he still can get his body mass going forward.
Seelan will now come back, and George Brown III is going to come out here and play receiver. Looks like he is. 5 minutes to go in the ball game. 20-14, McBain with the lead. Trying to run out some clock.
Yeah, but the 10-second call right now.
Yep. Hand is in the air. 5 seconds. 4. Snap. Seelan will hand it off to Logan Rodenbaugh, who will take it forward to about the 48-yard line, maybe a gain of 2. Call it about 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6 or so for McBain as we hit the 4.5-minute mark.
I think that's probably exactly how the Ramblers would like to run this. You know, they took that down to about 3 seconds left on the play clock, and then advanced it a couple of yards, kept it running.
Keep your eye on the back, Judge. Does not have his arm up yet. Seelan, though, is ready to go. Trips to his right. Seelan sprinting to his right, tucks it immediately, running upfield, heading for the chains, and it looks like he's got another Rambler first down at the 40-yard line of Pine River. So McBain, Brian, kind of running the Elijah Lewis offense with Gavin Seelan. Give him the ball, throw some blockers in front of him, see if he can't pick up a short change of yards.
Yeah, doing it well. I mean, to me, it's reminiscent right now of the first time these two teams played in the regular season. Seelan was able to break off good chunks like that, getting to the sideline.
9th play of the drive coming up, 4:05 to go.
So 2 receivers both sides.
As he did go out of bounds, clock has stopped. 20-14 McBain trying to put this one to bed. Pistol formation for Seelan, 2 receivers split either way. Seelan will hand it off. Auden Ealing straight up the middle, and Ealing wrapped up nicely at the legs by Trenton Holmes. I tell you what, too, give Holmes a lot of credit. At his size, you'd expect a lot of high schoolers to want to just blow people up and throw a shoulder into somebody and whatever. He's textbook. He is wrapping people up with those big paws, and he is reminiscent of, say, an Owen Bonico. Once he gets a hand on you, he ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, he's had an excellent season. He's really come on since, I think, the midway point of the season, become a leader on that defensive line. And, yeah, he's a sure tackler. He does his job well.
Gain of 4 makes it 2nd and 6. Seelan with 2 backs. Seelan will give it to Brown. No! And that's going to be on the turf, and Pine River's getting it back again. Seelan with the fake handoff up the front. Tried to run out and pitch on the edge, but instead the ball on the turf, and the Pine River Bucks with 3:18 remaining have got it back again at their own 40-yard line.
I believe it was Brian Fauble who recovered that fumble and puts the Bucks back in business at the 40.
1st and 10 from their own 40-yard line. Pine River with 60 yards to go, and an Omar Aguilar kick to win it. Lucas Hill in the pistol. Wants to pass. That's a fumble. And there's a scramble for the ball. McBain has it back.
Lady Mo.
Unbelievable turn of events again. This game has had it all. It looked like they wanted to just run the sweep, Brian, on that pitch. A play they had run with Fauble previously in motion. They faked the pitch. Fauble looked up, or excuse me, Hill looked upfield like he wanted to throw to somewhere else, and then instead threw it to Fauble, but that was still a backward pass. And that means it's now McBain's ball
Well, Sealand blitzed the corner on that one, and he looked at the pitch, and then he saw Sealand, and he was afraid that Sealand could intercept that pitch, so he went overhand, and then chaos ensued. And Sealand breaks it up, gets a fumble recovery, but is also sent to the sideline.
I think you're right, Gary. I think even if they made the pitch, completed the pitch, it was going to be dropped for a loss. But the hesitation seemed to really mess up the timing of the play.
So Mcbain gets it back now with 3:13 to go. 1st and 10 at the 26. And if Sealand or George Brown hands this off to anybody, I'll be stunned. George Brown should have 2 hands on this ball and doing nothing but running the ball and trying to stay in bounds. And actually, he runs out of bounds. And the linesman will call him out of bounds, and the clock will stop.
By number 5, Brock Nelson.
Taken down just outside the 35-yard line. 25-yard line.
It'll be second down.
So it'll bring up second and a long 9 now for Mcbain. I just would not expect at this point, Hawkeye, and maybe I'm just overstating things as a non-football person, but snap it to Gavin Sealand. Get him some blocking, see what he can do. I wouldn't mess with any. I haven't counted the fumbles in this game, but we've got to be up over the 5-6 mark.
Yeah, if you count the punts, in addition to that, we're going to be around 8.
And are we going to get a delay game? Or are we going to get a timeout? We're going to get a timeout from the Ramblers. 3:06 remaining in this one. What a fourth quarter. We'll keep it right here. 2nd and 9 coming up for the Ramblers. They have a 20-14 lead. If you're just joining us, where in the world have you been? This has been quite the game. Started off with a 62-yard touchdown run by Elijah Lewis on the first play from scrimmage. And then the defense has settled in. Multiple punts, multiple fumbles before the Ramblers got 2 touchdowns at the end of the first half from Gavin Sealand. A couple of touchdown throws to Justin Camphouse and George Brown. The third gave him a 14-7 lead at the half. But we had 3 turnovers in the first half. 4 turnovers in the first half. And we've had 4 turnovers here in the second half. 8 turnovers in this game, 7 fumbles and an interception. And it's dry out there.
Right, yeah, not what you'd expect, especially when you get to this point in the season and the weather and field conditions being as favorable as they are. Kind of shocking that both teams have turned it over so many times.
Well, temperature does have a lot to do with that, though, too.
Absolutely, absolutely. That ball is probably rock hard out there. So Gavin Sealand now in the shotgun with tailbacks to either side. 2 receivers split to his right. He'll pull it right down, follow Logan Rodenbaugh straight ahead, and Sealand will take it up to the 20-yard line, which is exactly what I think everybody in the stadium expected. And we're going to get a Pine River timeout with 2:58 remaining, and I believe that's their first here in the second half, which means Pine River still has 2 timeouts to spend and can get this ball back with a stop. 3rd and 3 coming up for the Ramblers.
And now I think, Gary, like you said earlier in the previous possession for the Ramblers, now the Bucks do have to just sell out and say, okay, we're going to stop the run. Just put everybody in the box, try to stand up the ball carrier and try to strip if they can, because if you get beat on some kind of a trick play or something, you get beat on it. But the Ramblers, otherwise, they're just going to, be content to power it up the middle and let that clock run.
Yeah, and you would assume, Hawkeye, that Pat Maloney is not thinking about trying to take advantage of that assumed mindset of the Bucks. It's just one of those situations where neither team really wants to step outside of what probably should happen here. And so it's just going to be mano a mano. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball. Let's see if it works.
And then you got 2 chances to do that to get the first down, being 3rd down this deep in their territory.
Right.
And the defense has played pretty well the second half. Yeah, there's no doubt that you give it to Sealand, and he's going to foul somebody.
Trips to his right. Sealand will run right, following Auden Ealing. Ealing tries to give him a block. Sealand trying to get to the line, and now Sealand does a nice job of cutting back and then diving forward to stay in bounds. We do have a flag coming in from the back judge late. He'll pick that up, so it's a spot foul, whatever it is, because he just moved it up to about the 17-yard line.
Well, there's only one thing that really could be called at that point.
On a spot foul, yep. Typically a hold. Oh, it's going to be a personal foul on the Ramblers. Is that the motion? A blindside block?
It is a personal foul.
Wow.
If the Bear calls it, that's the way it is.
I did research.
Somebody's been checking their official signals. My goodness. And that is a 15-yard penalty from the spot, which will take McBain back to the 32-yard line. Call it the 33. And third and a long ways, maybe 16, and the Bucks will call timeout with 2:51 to go. How does that happen on something that's not a run-back situation? I'm not doubting it. I'm just curious as to how that kind of a blindside block happens in a situation where it's pretty straightforward. You usually see that in say, an interception return, that type of situation where a player switching roles, offense to defense and vice versa, sometimes they'll get caught and get blindsided like that. Does that happen a whole lot in a standard type of run play?
Certainly not something I've seen very frequently. The only thing I can think of, it, I did not see the play that they called, but maybe the receiver from that side blocking this way caught somebody.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
what is going on is when he did that sweep, he had the offensive line that was on our side. The weak side was trailing behind the play, and then when he stopped to cut up, he actually stuttered, giving the line, and some of the linemen are quick enough to get over there, and then they got themselves in a backside block when he was trying to reverse the field a little bit to get that seam up to the or to get past the.
Yeah, it's interesting what the difference is between a block in the back and a blindside block, right? It seems like it'd be similar.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the. I don't know. Anyway,
Definitely
that's why they're down there and we're up here.
Right.
2:51 remaining in the game. It's a 3rd and 18 now for McBain. And I don't know what you call in this situation. You want to clock the run. You want to force him to call this last time out. Seelan in the shotgun. He sends Camphouse in motion. Seelan rolling to his left, thinking about throwing. He will, sending it for Camphouse. No, this is George Brown, the third with the catch and into the end zone. Did they call him in the end zone?
It does. Yep, they did.
Touchdown, Ramblers. Wow, Gavin Seelan throwing across his body after pump faking, launches it into a crowd. There were 2 white jerseys defending George Brown III, and George Brown simply takes it away and backs his way into the end zone to give the Ramblers a 26-14 lead with a 2-point conversion attempt coming up. Seelan, look to his left, now rolling, trying to escape Trenton Holmes. That's not happening. He does get the pass off into the end zone and caught by Logan Rodenbaugh. Are you kidding me?
The magician does it again.
Wow.
How many rabbits are in that helmet of his?
That, not only is that a great throw, but that is just courage beyond belief, because if Trenton Holmes has me in his grasp, I'm just turtling at that point. I'm not allowing him to launch me to the ground, which is exactly what happened. Seelan might have got more on that throw just by Holmes spinning him around to the turf. What a play. 2-point conversion.
Great look off on the touchdown pass by Seelan. He was looking to the corner of the end zone, and like you said, threw back across his body back toward the middle of the end zone, and just had the defense leaning the other way, and great execution on his part.
So the 2-point conversion to Logan Rodenbaugh is good, and McBain now with a 28-14 lead with 2:44 to go. What a fourth quarter this has been.
Superfan Terry Hunninga got his wish, so shout out to Terry as he's listening to us at home on his construction. Again, I don't know why he's not here.
He's in town and not here?
That's right.
I don't get it either then.
George Brown set to kick off.
Quick update for you from Lake City with 4:05 remaining. It's a 30-21 Lake City lead as they have answered again. So some late scoring going in that game too, as George Brown will kick this ball out of bounds. It's funny because Pat Maloney was actually down there the other side of the 30-yard line, Hawkeye, and stopped that ball from going too far when it went out of bounds. It's like he knew that's where they were going to kick it, and it was probably going to go out of bounds.
That's weird. The coach knew where they were going to kick it.
Kick it to me.
That'll be on the Ramblers for kick out of bounds.
Give George Brown a lot of credit because he hit his target.
If that was the case, that was excellent execution.
Absolutely. Where the Bucks will take over 1st and 10.
So Pine River will get the ball at their own 35 with 2:44 remaining in the game, down by 2 scores. And I think this is where you will see Elijah Lewis lined up in the slot or on the outside, and they will try to find him in space. Lucas Hill now in the pistol. 4 receivers. They'll send Lewis in motion. Fake the pitch to Lewis as they try to set something up for Brock Nelson on the near side, and Gavin Seelan sniffed that out and did a nice job of running up on Nelson, not allowing him really to get out. Sort of a wheel route of sorts. I don't know if you can run a wheel route from the receiver position, but Seeland effectively blowing that up. Incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10. I like to throw out terms that I don't know what they mean, like wheel route.
Sounds good.
I think that's something a running back runs. I think that's something a running back runs out of the backfield. Well, Nelson was the running back. It was a wheel route.
See, you nailed it.
Yes. Hill again in the pistol. Nelson is the tailback. Lewis is in the slot. Hill is looking to his left, right, now back left, now launching, has Jurek in the middle of the field, and Jurek cannot bring it in. Got distracted, I'm guessing, a smidge by Garrett Verberkmos, who was in the area. Verberkmos, I don't think, touched that, but sometimes you just get close enough to the ball. The offensive player will just make that little adjustment thinking it's going to get touched, and Jurek is going to be thinking about that one. Off the hands and incomplete. Great throw from Luke Hill.
He'd got behind the defender and, had to check up to catch it. If he would have been able to catch that in stride, who knows? But
I'll tell you what, too,
wasn't
Brian,
able to pull it in.
Well, I know it would have been a touchdown.
You look at Pat Maloney on the sideline. Maloney walking back, looking at Ryan Pace like, yeah, he was open.
We're not letting anybody behind us, right?
Trips to the left. Hill again looking to pass. Slings one left side for Jurek again, and this time Jurek is going to bring it in. Caught! And it's going to be a Pioneer first down in Mcbain territory at about the 43-yard line. Marcus Jurek making up for that one with a great catch on the far sideline.
It was actually a more difficult catch. I think the defender was closer to him that time, actually right in his face to try and defend that pass, and Marcus was able to pull that one in.
Degree of difficulty amped up. He did go out of bounds, I believe. 2:26 to go here. First down at the 43-yard line. They'll send Fable in motion. Pitch to Fable. Fable wants to throw. He will. Has the man in the middle of the field. Elijah Lewis. Lewis over to the 30. Lewis undercut over the 25 and dropped at the 23, call it the 22-yard line. Was he knocked down inbounds or out of bounds? It is a first down, Pine River.
Yeah, I believe they did signal him out of bounds.
Tell you what, when Fabo gets that halfback option pass, there's only one person he's looking at for the whole time there, and that's just the design to get it to Lewis's hands. He's not even paying attention to anybody else out there.
Hill in the pistol. He was out of bounds. 2:17 to go. Lewis is in the slot near side. Looking outside, and it's a caught ball. This is Rupert, who escapes. The defender escapes. 2 more. Rupert's still on his feet and finally brought down inside the 5-yard line.
Number 9, Lane Rupert.
Little Keystone Cops action going with the Ramblers defenders, Hawkeye, as they're just bouncing off of Rupert. Nobody being able to get a hold of him. Rupert's spinning away, and it's a 1st and goal now for Pine River at the 3.
2:05 left in the game. Pine River looking to make this a 1.
2 minutes to go in the game. Hill now out of the pistol.
No.
Hill will keep it himself, and Hendrickson's going to drop him back behind the 5. Noah Hendrickson and Justin Camphouse getting to him back at the 7-yard line, and Pine River will call timeout.
Hendrickson, number 2, Justin Camphouse.
Yeah,
a minute 48 to go here in the 4th.
Bam Bam busts through the line right there. He didn't know who had the ball, the quarterback or Nelson, because they're both right next to each other. Said, I'm just going to put them both, wait till they separate, see which one has the ball, then go after that guy.
It was the truth. Hendrickson actually stopped, like, to observe and see who's got the ball. Who should I tackle here?
It's the old line, grab them both and throw guys out till you find the one with the ball.
Exactly. Oh, my. Minute 48 to go. Well, this 4th quarter has definitely made up for most of the 1st and 2nd. 2nd and goal coming up from about the 6-yard line for Pine River. They're down by 2 scores, 28-14, with a minute 48 left. Lake City has the lead at Lake City. I think last we checked they were up by 9 now, excuse me. 2-point conversion must have, 30 to 21, up by 9. 4:05 to go was the last word we had over on our sister station, 107.1 The Drive. If Lake City wins, survives North Muskegon, they will host the winner of this one. Second and goal now for Pine River. Lucas Hill in the pistol. Couple of wings. Hill wants to throw to the outside to Rupert. And off the hands, well defended by Auden Ealing, who Hawkeye has done a really nice job in the secondary today. Called his number quite a few times on pass plays.
Yeah, he really has done a good job anticipating when the throw is going to get to the receiver and been able to break that up.
We're trying to go with a quick slant to Lane Rupert on that. And I just think the ball came out a little bit slow, and the defender had closed any gap that there might have been and was right there simultaneously with the ball.
Well, it looks like Lewis and Gavin Seelan are going to be matched up one-on-one, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with this one.
4 receivers again for Hill. 3 receivers for Hill. Nope, 4. He's got Lewis in the far corner. This time he comes back to Rupert. Rupert with the catch, but immediately hit by both Auden Ealing and Rodenbaugh. Daniel Rodenbaugh brought down at about the 3, so it'll be 4th and goal now.
Pine River out of timeouts, so they can't call timeout to talk this over.
Minute 20 and ticking to go in this one. Hill again in the pistol. He's got Lewis in the kind of the wingback position to his right. He will hand it off to Nelson, and Nelson met by a host of Ramblers at the 5. And turnover on downs. McBain will take over with 1:06 remaining. And the Ramblers will be able to ice this one away with 1:06 remaining.
The other team has 2 timeouts. What a fantastic finish to this game. What a great game between both teams. And there's the best thing about high school sports right there. You guys see that going on out there? Holmes and Bonico shaking each other's hand, giving the man bro hug.
That's because they're the only 2 guys in the field that can give a man bro hug, because they're the 2 men out on the field. Or at least it looks that way looking at them around. So victory formation for the Ramblers. They'll need to take one more knee, will Gavin Seelan. And the McBain Ramblers are going to advance. Barring some kind of crazy announcer jinx and nutty stuff happening here with 40 seconds
but why not?
Down. Why not after all that, right?
this quarter.
I already did that once to them against let's see, I blocked it from my mind. I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, I don't remember you doing that to them against Fremont.
It was not Fremont, it was Ionia. See there? What do you...
I got you to say it.
Dang it. That's going to do it. Final 15 seconds ticking off on this one. The McBain Ramblers advance to the district final with a 28-14 victory over the Pine River Bucks here in this Division 7 pre-district playoff contest. What a finish and what a game. We'll take a break, hear from a few more of our sponsors that have allowed us to bring this broadcast to you, and be back. The post-game show, final stats coming up right after this.
McBain Rural Agricultural Schools offers a quality, well-rounded education for the whole child. McBain students have a technological head start from the beginning with their own issued MacBook or iPad. Rambler students are immersed in strong curriculum, including access to a large variety of vocational programs, a winning athletics program, and access to a new state-of-the-art performing arts center. Challenging competitive times require a challenging competitive education. Give your child the McBain advantage. McBain Rural Agricultural Schools.
There are 3 kinds of people who get really happy when it snows a lot. Skiers, snowmobilers, and people who just bought a new LS tractor from Eagles Hardware in Falmouth. With a comfortable, roomy, heated cab, plenty of power, expert dealer service, and a 6-year limited warranty, moving snow is no longer a chore. It's a downright pleasure. The more you compare, the more you'll see why you can excel in your field with a new LS tractor from Eagles Hardware. Family owned since 1920 in downtown Falmouth.
The harsh northern Michigan winter is right around the corner, and that's why you need to heat your house with Holton's LP Gas. Call them today at 231-839-4600. You can contact the office for specials today. And if you're a new customer, they have specials for you as well. Holton's LP Gas has been in Lake City for 30 years, and don't worry, they service the entire listening area. They've got 24/7 live, trained professionals. Holton's LP Gas is a proud sponsor of Mcbain Athletics.
We've all been there. We rely on our vehicles more than ever to get us where we need to go, safe and sound. Mcbain Auto Service is open Monday through Friday and are fully licensed and insured to serve you. With over 50 years combined experience, they specialize in everything from brakes to engine repair with no job too big or small. Stop in for a safety inspection. Mcbain Auto Service, located at 9438 South Maury Road in Mcbain, or call 231-825-2729.
And welcome back to Mcbain High School. Jay Simon alongside Gary Hawkeye Vanna. Brian, I survived a broadcast without being labeled with a nickname. Good now. Zach Wiggins turning the dials for us back in the studio. The Mcbain Ramblers have survived, and they advanced to the district final with a 28-14 a win over the Pine River Bucks here in Mcbain. We don't blame you if you want to jump over to 107.1 The Drive. We'll give you updates if you want to hear our post-game show. It is 30-28, Lake City with the lead, with under 2 minutes to go in that one at Lake City over North Muskegon. A little closer, I think, than anybody might have anticipated looking at that matchup. But Lake City trying to advance. If they do, then Mcbain will be at Lake City next week. If North Muskegon pulls off the upset, Mcbain would be home again for the district final next week. But, gentlemen, what a game. We should have known when it started off. Elijah Lewis, 62 yards to the house on the opening play of the game. Broke about 74 tackles. That has increased every time we've talked about it, but I don't think we're exaggerating much. And then sprinted for the end zone for the touchdown. But then all of a sudden the turnover bug hit. We had 8 turnovers in the game, 7 fumbles and an interception between the two teams. The Ramblers came back with a couple of Gavin Seeland touchdown passes to end the first half, take a 14-7 lead into the second half. Pine River answered with a great drive to tie it at 14, and then Mcbain closing it out toward the end of the game with a couple more touchdowns. But boy, just a very physical, but honestly well-played game. There were not a lot of flags in this game, and I know that with Mcbain and Pine River there can be some history and there can sometimes be some bad blood. I thought this was a very well-played game between these two teams.
Yeah, I thought so from that standpoint too. You know, both teams were very disciplined, and we didn't see a whole lot of flags. So, you know, that's certainly a positive. The only if there's a disappointment in the game, it's that there were that many turnovers.
Yeah.
But, you know, everything's amped up. So when you get to playoff time, you know, the tension is high. There's a lot of pressure on these young men, and so to some degree, I think you have to expect some of that kind of stuff to happen.
No, it's serious. The bounce of the ball one way or the other, you're looking at Pine River 28, Mcbain 14, and the teams are exactly evenly matched. It's just the way the ball is squibbled, rolled.
The way the ball squibbled. I should point out, I'm making an error there. There was actually 7 turnovers, 6 fumbles, and 1 interception. The one that I was thinking was a fumble was actually the onside kick. That's not technically a turnover. The onside kick by the Ramblers, the low screamer that hit the up man off the knee, bounced straight back to Mcbain, and they got it right back, because I had back-to-back possessions for Mcbain, but I didn't have written down what had actually happened. But in any case, 7 total turnovers, 6 fumbles and an interception between the two teams. So, but they were the types of fumbles. There were a couple that were mishandled, but they were also forced. And give a lot of credit to the two defenses for the way they played in this one too, I would think.
I agree with that completely. Yeah.
Yep, some good hitting going on, and as you'd expect in Highland Conference postseason football.
Absolutely. This is the Northern Truck Service post-game show. Northern Truck Service has the best diesel mechanics in the area. Give Jen a call, 825-6008, to schedule your truck repair today. I want to let you know this broadcast also brought to you in part. The play-by-play guy delays to find his sheet. Judy Gildy Photography, Mcbain Hardware, Mr. Pibbs Restaurant, DJ McQuestion and Sons, Baker College, Ebel's General Store and Dawn's Catering, McLean Transmission, Taylor Mechanical, Wexford Misaki Career Tech Center, the Falmouth Co-op, Mcbain Auto Service, Burkholder Family Funeral Home, and Kelly's Pizza and Grill, as well as White Pine Outdoor Boilers. I had them in the middle of my sheet and did not check them off. That's bad on my part. And Hawkeye, I don't know if you've got the iPad in front of you. If you want to give us some stats real quick, we're going to try and get through this post-game show quickly.
Well, the top players for McBain would be Gavin Seeland, 17 attempts for, it says 16 yards completed. A 14-yard was the longest pass he threw, or rushing, sorry. George Brown, 6 rushes for 32 yards. Logan Vanderboss, 4 rushes for 25 yards. Passing, 4 for 22 for Seeland, 262 yards, and 4 touchdowns. A long pass of 67 to Garrett Berkmos. Receivers led by Logan Rodenbaum, 90 yards, 6 receptions. Garrett Berkmos only hit 2 of them, but one was for 68 yards. The other one was enough to give him 77 yards total. George Brown, 2 receptions, 51 yards. Both receptions are touchdowns, and Camphouse had the 4th touchdown for the Ramblers. That will give you the quick stats.
All righty. Well, let's move on. The Judy K. Gildy Photography Picture Perfect Play of the Game, and we didn't warn Brian that we were going to make him give his own opinion.
I got one for each team if you want me to do it.
I've got one for Pine River.
Okay,
I'll go with the first snap from scrimmage with Elijah Lewis on the long run.
And the 78 broken tackles?
Yeah, we're up to 78 now. There were a lot, I know.
There were a lot of broken tackles. That was an impressive run. Absolutely. Opening play of the game. Elijah Lewis taking it over the left side of the line, stopped by a host of green jerseys, and then suddenly coming out of it like he was shot out of a cannon and sprinting forward, outrunning the Rambler defense for the touchdown to put Pine River up early, 7-0. There's your Judy K. Gildy picture perfect play of the game for Pine River. For McBain. Hawkeye, what you got?
I got Auden Ealing deflecting the ball in the back of the end zone with 7 minutes left in the 4th quarter when Pine River had a touchdown. Could have been sealed, and that would have made a completely different game here at the end. I'm giving the Auden Ealing defensive deflection.
Nice. I like it.
Judy K. Gildy picture perfect play of the game.
Zigging beyond zagging. That's fantastic stuff. How about the lineman of the game? Brought to you by Huttinga Electric. I know who I'd pick for both teams. It seems pretty easy for me, but I'll let you guys go ahead. Hawkeye, we'll put you under pressure first.
Well, I think the subtitle of the award is the Owen Bonico lineman of the game, so we're giving it to Owen.
It basically is. I will give a shout out to Noah Hendrickson, who had a great game as well, and was in the backfield an awful lot. And Lucas Hill will remember his face, I'm sure, multiple times. How about on the Pine River side there, Brian?
I think that's pretty clear-cut, too. Trenton Holmes played a great game. Both sides of the ball. He's the center on offense and anchors that offensive line. And then defensively, he's oftentimes a man amongst boys out there, but had his hands full at times, but had a lot of stops for Pine River tonight.
And the biggie is the Taylor Mechanical Player of the Game. This is the one that they wait for all the time to the end of the post-game show because they need to know who's going to win this. I think Hawkeye gives some sort of huge award, so you might be under some pressure. Don't give it to somebody who's at the CTC, Brian, because they'll see you and they'll expect something equivalent to what Hawkeye hands out. But the Taylor Mechanical Player of the Game, most coveted award in all of high school sports. And we're going to put Brian back under pressure first.
I guess I'm going to take the easy way out, as it were, and I'm going to go with Elijah Lewis. I think he was playing through some obvious pain out there at times, really from fairly early on, and still had a pretty big night for the Bucks. So I'm going to go with Elijah Lewis for that award.
All right, Elijah Lewis, your player of the game from Taylor Mechanical for Pine River. How about for McBain?
We're going to give it to George Brown, the 3rd string whatever. Wide receiver. All he does is catches touchdowns with 2 receptions only. They're both for touchdowns. All he does is throw